All right, yeah, okay,
That was terrible.
I was like, fucking warn a bitch before you do something. Oh, fuck.
2024, another year done.
There's a reason why I've laughed at that, because Nick's previous introduction was
Terrible.
dog shit.
Well, it was genuinely dog shit. Not like this year in movies though, because 2024 stellar year for film.
Well, that's if you actually decided to watch more than big blockbuster titles.
I actually preferred watching movies that were uploaded to Twitter through people filming their reaction to big blockbuster films. Actually, that was my favorite way in 2024 of consuming media. I don't know about you.
That's a whole probably that's a whole episode in itself.
I think that question might even pop up later on.
Yeah, okay. Well, if it pops up later on, I'll save my discourse, because quietly fuck everybody who records movies from your phone in cinemas and takes photos of the screen the day that the movie is released.
Yes.
I hate it.
No, it's terrible.
I hate it so much.
Just a tease for what's to come.
Yeah.
On the 2024 recap episode of the monthly movie marathon.
What?
Nick LaBarre and Peter Gray. Once again, the final episode of 2024.
Can you believe?
I don't want to believe it, Peter Gray.
But you have to.
Not. It's only a few short weeks ago we were talking about Mufasa the Lion King. Thank you, everyone, for watching that episode. I'm not going to lie, not a stellar reaction to that episode, because I don't think anybody gave a shit about Mufasa.
No,
but I anticipated.
People did love the clip that you put up of us basically saying Mufasa, Scar is Trump.
That they did love that. We got a great reaction out of that. So thank you for that.
Thanks for that.
Mufasa dead on arrival?
But weirdly, it's kind of had a bit of a...
Have you seen it yet?
No.
Neither have I.
No. Sorry, Disney.
We did say in the episode that we were seeing it.
And we were.
And no, we were. But then a literal last minute day before junket came up in the middle of that screening.
For an interview that was for a movie.
We had already confirmed we were doing that interview.
Yeah.
We didn't know the times. And then
And I would have-
they were like,
yeah.
here it is. And we're like, oh, shit.
And I would have preferred to have spoken to that director overseeing.
I think that's a fair statement. Well, actually, maybe it's not FX. We haven't seen it. Maybe we'll love it.
Maybe that's
if
true.
we had seen it, it would end up in our favorite movies of 2024.
Maybe.
Which will be discussed on today's episode.
Yes.
Which, of course, like the recaps of old, which I think is
The
like
recaps of your...
This is our third one. This is our third recap. So we
Third
did
one.
2022 recap was the first one we did last year, and now 2024.
That's how
That's
years
how
work.
linear time and years
You know when you
work.
do something 3 times in 2024, you started in 2022.
Hell yeah.
How fucking great is that, man?
We live outside of time, the monthly movie marathon. No, we don't, because we're just like everyone else, despite how we may feel
I love
about
just
it.
seeing where your brain goes with the things that you say.
Do you want to know what's really funny about that? I don't even know where my brain's going to go. Like,
and you know what?
You
know what? You can tell.
You can tell.
Yeah.
He's a special boy. But it's been a great year. We've done many episodes. We've done 12, in fact, plus a...
12, because
Plus
there are
a
12
Q&A.
months plus a Q&A. So 13, which means this is the 14.
Because that's how numbers work.
Here we were saying people like, you're not going to need math.
But I mean, it's crazy how often math and science do come up in the show. I think this is a far more intellectual podcast than people.
Well, this is
would
science is how I know that Moonfall wasn't real. This whole time.
I really
Damn you, Roland Emmerich.
I would love.
Remember Moonfall?
I remember Moonfall.
Right?
My favorite part about Moonfall, just to reminisce on the year that was 2023. Did I go 22 or 3?
I think it was
22. Was
it 21 or 22?
I think it was 22.
It was. I know it was still kind of pandemic.
It was pandemic-y, but the funniest part was we got to see it early as part of the preview screening.
Early.
It was only a couple of days, right?
was it?
But
I felt like...
the weird thing about Moonfall was that even though we had seen it and even though the movie was coming out on a Thursday in Australia, we weren't allowed to review it till the Friday because of a global review embargo.
And because
it was that
movies
bad.
mostly get released on a Friday in the States. Friday in the States is like still Thursday for us sort of thing.
No, Friday in the States is Saturday for us.
It is. That's how that works. Yep.
time, maths,
Either
and
way,
science.
we weren't allowed to review it till the Friday,
Yeah, it was
and we
wild.
just had to sit on our thoughts of a fuck that movie. Jesus Christ.
Great zero gravity scene, though. I do remember enjoying that thoroughly. Actually, I feel like I liked that movie more than other people did. But it was terrible.
It was terrible.
That's not what we're here to talk about.
TRBL, Turbo.
Terrible. But terrible movies may pop up throughout because as we do with the recap episodes, we look back at the year that was, not just for the monthly movie marathon podcast, but for cinema in general. And then right down the middle is the audience questions. Pete and I went to our Instagrams and asked you to send in questions, movie related, maybe not movie related. Most of them are movie related.
Most of them are movie related. This isn't like the Ask
Q&A
Us Anything
where
where
we
we
go.
say, hey, do you know that I got turned on by watching Melissa Barrera stab Jack Quaid? You do now. In Scream, I should probably...
Not in real life.
Not in
No,
real
Melissa
life.
Barrera still hasn't been caught for that crime yet in real life.
I'm just going to say, Melissa Barrera...
You interviewed her this year.
She is just the loveliest person. And Jack Quaid's a fucking gent.
He seems like
I've
it.
interviewed him twice. He is so lovely.
Yeah.
And watching those two together was a joy. And I'm so glad I got to speak to both of them. So
There
yeah,
we
I'm
go.
just going to say that.
Well, while we're in the reminiscent mood, Peter Gray,
Yeah.
why don't we look back at the year that was the monthly movie marathon?
Why
Let's
don't we?
recap the 12 episodes we did, January through to December. A lot of movies watched for this show, but I think people would like to know what our favorite movie that we rewatched for the show. Now, would you like to go first? You want me to go first? Do you have one?
You can
You
go
want
first because I'm just trying to
I
think.
had this answer came to me immediately. There was going to be no other replacement for this. 5-star movie in my opinion. We rewatched Drive this year, starring Ryan Gosling for the Fall Guy episode, and god damn, I love that movie.
Yeah.
Drive was by far my favorite rewatch. of the year.
Yeah. I remember when we were speaking about it and I was just like, that fucking opening is just, it's so good.
Perfect. It's the perfect mix of like setting up the world, setting up a character, using voiceover, using soundtrack, like to really create tension. And then Ryan Gosling just like, I am him, he is me, I am the driver.
Yeah.
Incredible. But then that movie, and then it just gets better and better.
That movie's
as it goes
just
on.
like, that's like a perfect movie.
It's a perfect movie, and it's also like everyone's like, oh yeah, it's like that Ryan Gosling like crime thriller. It's a love story, baby.
Yeah, no.
That's a love story through and through.
So because repeating answers is just not that fun.
Sure.
Obviously Drive, yes. Like you watch that episode and the love of Drive is very evident.
Yes.
So probably next to Drive, favorite rewatch, going off another 5-star banger movie,
Yeah.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Hard to pass it, which we obviously did for the Furiosa,
Like
a Mad Max saga episode.
God.
Which I mean, that movie's just 2 hours of adrenaline.
it's so
It's
good.
so goddamn good. Too bad people didn't like really catch on to Furiosa, which is great. I've given that away for a few Christmas presents. I bought it for myself in the Black Friday sales. Great film.
Amazing. In a
film.
perfect world, Chris Hemsworth would be in the supporting actor talk.
Interesting. That might come up later on.
Possibly.
In a listener question. Those are our favorite rewatches of 2024, but with the good comes the bad. You can't just live in a world where everything is sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes you got to delve through the dog shit
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows.
in order to know what's good. And that leads us to
The bad.
the worst rewatch of the year. Would you like to take this one, Peter Gray?
Going off of, so like, it was just like, it's possible that there might have been something I disliked more, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go off the fact that as soon as it was like bad, what was the first thing that came to my mind? I'm going to say it rhymes with Morbius, because Morbius,
Well.
fucking God.
Peter Gray, I don't care if we repeat answers
Same
because
thing.
Morbius is mine
Like,
as well.
what the actual fuck? Like,
Yeah, Morbius is rough and not in that so bad. It's entertaining.
no,
way.
this is
It
just bad.
bad.
And then it was just like, and that like,
So that was for the Madam Web episode,
which obviously Madam Web didn't turn out to be
But it's apparently a
amazing.
fucking hit on Netflix, according to the Sony CEO, who had some whack statements to say about the movies.
But I will say, I appreciate the fact that he's
Well, he kind of got behind his movies.
He's standing behind his film. He's doing more than some fucking other CEO.
David Zaslav. Sorry.
Like, I like the fact that he's at least, because he is looking at it going, hey, this movie ended up being a hit on Netflix, so clearly there is some audience
some love for it, right?
It's possible that if Madam Web didn't have like all of the fucking discourse leading up to it, it's possible that movie might have done
okay
on opening weekend.
Sure.
I can see that tailing off.
Yeah.
It's
But
just
it
really
was-
unfortunate that, like, apart from
There
the
was a hit on
Spider-Man
it.
movies, the Sony Spider-Man universe, which is now completely just
It's done. Because I finally watched Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah.
Whoo-ee. I was not expecting much, but I got
Because I
far
didn't.
less than I was expecting.
Because I
out of it.
messaged Nick being like, I just watched Craven, and I was like, oh, okay.
And I was like, all right, Pete. I was like, come
all
on,
right,
let's not be so hard on it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, no, very
that's
justified.
That's fair. So if you're,
And then Venom, just Venom.
Yeah.
I mean,
but basically,
wow.
if you're a Johnson, an Aaron Taylor or a Dakota, stay away from Sony Marvel.
yeah, at the
But you know what? They're like Aaron Taylor Johnson. You've got Nosferatu. You're fine.
Yes. Dakota Johnson.
Johnson. Daddy-O. But like, she's got the Celine Song.
Celine Song. That's
Like,
who's she working with? Yeah.
The funny thing is, like, really, no one's career have been
No,
like Sydney
will be
Sweeney,
fine.
Isabella Merced, Celeste O'Connor.
They'll be fine.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, Fred Heshinger.
Tom Hardy will be
Tom
fine.
Hardy will be fine.
Juno Temple will be fine. They'll make another season of Ted Lasso.
Everyone, those movies just this little thing in time that no one really got hurt. I mean, directors could.
Yes.
Because a lot of the times it does come down to
First-time director for Madam Web, S.J.
Connor?
S.J. Connor.
Yeah.
Who also directed some of the best episodes of Succession, which
So
I think
maybe
we brought up. I
maybe
think she'll be
TV,
all right.
maybe TV.
I don't think Kelly Marcel made directing. Yes, she might.
Yeah, I mean,
it made a lot of money.
Predominantly a screenwriter,
But it also made a lot of money.
and JC
Chandor will be
Chandor.
fine. He's already working on his next film.
Yes, so
Plus, if you haven't watched the films of JC Chandor's that he made before Craven, Triple Frontier, I'm like, sure, that's like a middle of the line okay movie. But like
Margin
Most Violent
Call.
Year, Margin Call, and All Is Lost.
All Is Lost.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That is a banger first 3 films to start your career on.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he'll be okay.
Yeah.
Which we strayed so far from the fact that
Morbius was dog shit. Yeah.
Morbius sucked.
Yeah. And like on a rewatch, you just like, yeah, okay.
But
Like,
the good thing is, Pete,
yes.
that's the only negative thing about Monthly Movie Marathon that we're going to harp on about.
okay, nice.
We're going back to the favorites.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I don't even know if you can answer this question.
Okay.
But sometimes when we do the Monthly Movie Marathon, even though we're watching movies that have come out, some of them are first-time watches.
They
for
are.
us. And I have one that was my favorite for the year. Was there anything we watched this year?
So I look back at it and I was like, I had seen everything,
Wow.
but
Ooh.
I did have an answer for this because
I'll take it.
watching one of them was like the first
Sure.
time.
Which was?
Alien Resurrection.
Yes. Yeah.
So I know that Alien Resurrection, obviously, in the grand scheme of the Alien movies, is like not higher, but we fucked with that movie.
That movie was fantastic, and I often think about it.
And looking at,
I feel like there was more resurrection in Romulus than people are talking about, right? Like,
because I had seen everything.
yes.
But Resurrection and Alien 3 were the two that like I'd seen very young and just hadn't rewatched. So they were kind of like watching for the first
time again.
So that's why I went off that criteria.
What a great
And
movie.
I'd much rather watch Alien Resurrection than Alien 3.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, like Alien Resurrection was just fucking violent,
much
gory, pulpy fun.
so much fun.
So
No, I
yeah,
love that.
So that's my answer.
I fucking love that answer. And now it's just made me want to watch Resurrection again, to be totally honest. Pete, you're going to love my first watch.
Okay.
My favorite first time watch.
Yeah.
Because you were excited for me to watch
Oh my
this
God,
movie.
I know what it is.
And earlier this year in the January episode, we did Mean Girls.
We did.
Which again, banger film.
Yes.
Very underrated.
Yes.
I watched for the first time Clueless. And I loved that
I remember
movie.
being a little bit worried.
You were hesitant. And because like I said, we have very similar tastes, and I'm very as the podcast resident straight man, I have very, very particular taste. No, it's like it makes sense. Like it's not a movie that's made for me.
No. And I was like, I saw that when I was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
I saw that thing like 5 times in the cinema.
You have a
I
great
have
fondness
and I
for
was
it.
like, because like I feel like if you're a gay man and you don't want to be Cher Horowitz, then who
What's
are
wrong
you?
with you? Yeah, you're not gay. At
Yeah,
that
you're not
point.
gay at all. So when you were like, I liked it, and then you were like, didn't you rate it like?
I think I have like a 4 and a 4.5
Yeah,
or something.
I
It
was just
very
like,
high.
I'm like,
I
was like,
laughed from start to finish.
so proud.
I think it is a perfect capsule of time that it is making fun of while also being the perfect genre for that film as well. Alicia Silverstone, fantastic.
That's it. You want to play games? I'm calling your mother. No.
So fucking funny. Paul Rudd, hilarious. It's just, there is so much of that movie that I still think about.
Hey man, Christian is a
12
cake
months
boy.
later. He's a cake boy.
He's a disco dancing, Oscar Wilde reading, Streisand ticket holding friend of Dorothy. You know what I'm saying? He's gay. Oh,
Well,
so
and, I
good.
mean, look at that in the 90s, like brilliant use of representation.
Yeah,
in
like
a
it
film as
wasn't
well,
being like,
it's not punching down on any of the characters.
Christian was a cake boy.
It was
You know, like
just so fucking funny.
wasn't saying the F slur, so you know.
No, that's true. That's just true, actually. Yeah, it's a 90s
They're
movie.
very
that
like
managed to have
they're
a gay
very
character and not.
They're
call
just
the
like
F word.
and then she's like, he ended up becoming one of my best friends. I was like, yeah,
Who would have
so
thought?
good.
Very
I'm
funny.
so happy that
Amy
makes sense.
heckling, absolute gold.
Makes
So yeah,
me so
Clueless is
happy.
my favorite rewatch.
Yes.
Which brings us to the final part of the monthly movie marathon recap aspect, which was the favorite episode to record.
Favorite episode to record.
And that's so hard to pick because we have a
Yeah,
lot of
we have
fun
a- we
doing
have a
this.
lot of fun.
Sometimes the movies are tougher to get through, but sometimes that leads to really funny conversations
Yeah.
like the Madam Web episode.
Yeah.
But there was one that's near and dear to my heart because Pete and I just got to nerd out in a sense. We've done it before. We did it with the Jackass series. We did it with the Scream series. And there's another series that I love dearly. I've been able to talk to a director of some of these films, and that was a highlight in my interviewing career. When we did the Bad Boys Ride or Die episode,
Yeah.
going back and talking about the Bad Boys films was great. And because I love those movies. But I think this is not to make us sound better than everyone else, but we really get those movies, man. But I think we had a really great candid discussion about the fact that really fucking high testosterone, high octane action films don't always tackle the subject of male mental health. And Bad Boys for Life does. And then even more so, Bad Boys Ride or Die did. And I think it's such a fantastic and interesting evolution of the characters in the franchise. And we had a really cool discussion about it. But it never took away from the fact that we were like, and there's so many cool explosions.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
And Bad Boys Ride or Die, while not my favorite in the series, still that's up there for life. Was great.
It was still
a
it
fucking great film.
was a good time.
That was my favorite episode to record for the year. That was 2024. Do you have one that stands out for you, Pete?
It's
always tough.
It is really tough because it's like I would like everybody to think that like what you see here, like this is
very
it's incredibly natural.
This is very much us.
I
Except
think
I'm way more homophobic off mic. Way more.
it's true. It's true.
Can't wait for someone to clip that 10 years from now when a PR crisis team comes to me and they're like, holy
Like, we
shit,
do
I can't
have
believe you
this.
said that.
I think you know what? I think going off of what you talked about with Clueless.
Yes.
I think I am going to say the January episode was a lot of fun to record.
It was good.
Because we spoke about, like, we hadn't seen the new Mean Girls at that point.
No, we hadn't yet. No.
But that Mean Girls movie ended up being a massive surprise to both of us.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I also think rewatching Mean Girls, seeing Clueless for the first time,
yeah.
then rewatching Booksmart.
Yeah.
I think we had a lot of, like, it was one of those things where, same thing how saying about mental health, like Nick being able to, sounds so weird to being like, Nick being able to say that, but like the fact that you're just like, I like chick flicks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Like,
for sure. Yeah,
it's like, it's sort of that nice, like,
It's-
dichotomy of being like, love, masculine loves the action movies,
Yeah.
testosterone, all of that, but then is like,
Had a ball of time with Clueless.
but it's one of those things
Love
where you're
Booksmart.
masculine enough
Sure, yeah,
to
yeah.
be like, hey,
I'm not
Clueless
concerned.
is fucking funny.
Very funny.
And like, fuck everybody who thinks it's a, like,
And I
it's a chick flick, but like, that doesn't mean guys
doesn't mean I
can't
can't
watch
enjoy it. And I
Yeah.
remember saying, like, I was like, I liked Mean Girls, but I didn't love it. Maybe it was like the height was too high. And
Yeah.
then going into the fucking musical version of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure. And walking out being like, That was fucking
And
brilliant.
that Mean Girls musical still has one of the best jokes of the entire year.
Which
the
is-
Reginald joke.
The Reginald. Yeah,
That is legitimately one of the funniest jokes of the that was
so
like,
good.
and I feel like
if it was a boy, we were gonna name it Reg.
like she's like, you know what I would be cool if I was a boy, and she was like, you'd be called like a like something like you'd be called a hero or something. She'd be like, no, Reginald. Because her name is Regina. Like, it's so funny. And, like, I think Nick and I were kind of the only two that, like, really laughed
at that joke, yeah. Also, I'll just say, shout out, because this will come up later in the again in the audience questions. Yeah. Shout out to the crowd at the Mean Girls premiere.
Yes.
Because it was...
We were very worried about that crowd.
In fairness, and this is very much a stereotype, it was a lot of teenage girls, a lot of young female influencers. In groups as well.
Yeah.
I get it. The cackling is good fun, but super respectful. No phones out.
No phones.
Having a good time.
No, like there was laughing and like the aftermath of laughing.
Oh,
but
like
there was no.
that was funny.
But there was no just like
conversation, which we've experienced.
Yes.
So I just shout out to.
If you want to have a conversation, do not pay $20 and sit in a movie theater. Absolutely. You can have a conversation for free outside.
Amen to that.
Like, I can't fucking stress enough that if all you're going to do in a cinema is talk about things that aren't to do with the movie, don't fucking go.
Easy as that.
Anyway.
And with that,
the
monthly movie marathon 2024
edition
has come to a close, which is fantastic. But that doesn't mean this episode's come to a close.
No.
But we're recording the first episode, the January episode, like 2 days
from now.
Which is exciting.
And which we will also, let's just say, there might be some exciting things with that.
There'll be some exciting things to say in that episode. And we've got most of the 2025 mapped out. Obviously, release dates change. We're pretty, we've got
we've got an idea of what we want to do. We've got a pretty good idea of what we want to do.
And I think it's going to be one of the more fun years. Well, not that the other years haven't been fun, actually.
No, but like there's, when you look at...
we found our groove.
Yeah.
We found what you guys like. We know that we want to do what we like to. I think that's going to lead to some pretty fun conversations and some great rewatches.
Yeah.
And some big episodes to come.
Yes.
We teased last year that there was a certain film franchise where we were going to hold off till the final film.
Yeah.
And that final film is coming out and maybe one of our biggest episodes. If you thought the almost 3-hour Fast and Furious episode was hectic, we might be looking at an almost 4-hour episode.
Considering like there's not as many of these movies.
No.
But these are not even arguably, these are much better movies.
Yes, there's a bit more to talk about.
And we'll just say after from the midpoint onwards, pretty much like perfect.
Banger after banger after banger after banger. Of which we will tease Peter Gray has met the star of this franchise. And let's just say
I didn't just
five handshake.
I didn't just meet this person. I had a moment with
if you don't know what that is, then you'll find out in May 2025.
Yeah, you will.
I guess.
Yeah.
But that's the monthly movie marathon for 2024.
Yeah.
Finito. So let's move into listener questions.
Let's do
what
that.
What a fun time. I always love these. These are some great questions. And there's a lot of questions,
and they're always things that we're just like, oh, wow. Like, not...
Shit, we actually have to, think about and look up and
so
stuff
some
like
things I have pre-thought.
Yes.
Other things are just going to be straight off the top of my head.
Yeah, I've gone and kind of prepared answers for everything, but as most conversations on this show
end up being like, oh, wait, yeah, I really like it.
Go from there.
Yeah.
But let's start off with...
Yes.
This is an interesting question.
Yeah.
What was the best and worst cinema experience of 2024 for you?
Yes.
Oh, so sorry. This was just in general, actually. Sorry. Just best and worst cinema experience in general.
In general. Oh, best and worst. So when I went to best, it was hard to be like, what do I take this as criteria?
Sure, yeah.
So
we're making our own criteria.
So I basically was like, okay, I look at, obviously movie enjoyment is a massive part of it.
Yeah.
But cinema experience is also going to come down to like, how are the people around me?
Exactly.
And that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I can't necessarily pinpoint it to like Actually, no, you know what? No, I am going to pinpoint it to one movie. So obviously this year I was at Toronto.
Toronto
for the Toronto Internet. So I'm going to say my
TIFF.
best cinema experience was the opening night of TIFF,
Yeah.
Midnight Madness.
Yeah.
I'm watching The Substance.
Oh my God, Peter Gray.
So I'm not only watching The Substance at midnight, which is exactly the way that movie should be seen.
Agreed.
In a beautiful fucking theater.
Yeah.
Like the theater that this was in is just like, it reminds me of the State Theatre at Sydney.
Interesting.
Like it's
beautiful
a
theatre.
It's a big, beautiful theatre.
Love the sound system at the State Theatre.
So I'm watching that. And obviously this is packed out.
to the
Like this
rafters.
ticket was the hardest ticket to buy. I got very lucky that a friend of mine, Matt, who is a American critic who I met 2 years prior.
Yeah.
We just hit it off. We met up again for a drink. We were talking about what we're going to see. And he's like, I've got so much stuff to write already. I can't go to the midnight screening of The Substance. Do you want my ticket? And I was like, Matt, yes, I want your ticket.
Shout out to Matt. Thank you, Matt.
So he gave me his ticket, and it's like it was just a case of you just transfer it to a person. So then I'm lining up, and I was like, am I going to actually fit in this cinema? Because the lineup was like four streets. And I'm like, what the fuck? But I have a ticket, I have a seat, so I know that I'm getting in. Get in. There's a beach ball going about the cinema. Everyone is just fucking like rowdy, but like the good rowdy. Everyone's super excited. The guy that curated the Midnight Madness program, he comes out. He gets everybody riled up. Then fucking Margaret Qualley, Demi Moore, Coralie Faja, they come out. They introduce their movie. Demi Moore's like, I hope you guys enjoy the fucking ride. And I was like, yes. Then I started to get a little bit worried.
Because everyone was
Because you have the 5 trailers that are played before every single TIFF movie. And so they're basically, one is about like Indigenous cinema. Another is about the volunteers. There's another about like certain sponsors and things like that. Everyone is just like clapping and yelling through all of these ads. And the volunteer ad, everyone stands up and salutes, which I think is
That's all good.
so
That's
much
great.
fun.
That's great.
So then there was all that. And then at the beginning of The Substance, we obviously have the different studios that are part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone is like clapping and wooing for each studio. And I was like, look, this is fun. It's midnight. By this point, it's probably getting close to like 12:45.
Yeah.
Everyone's a bit, but I was like, oh my God, is everybody just going to be this rowdy for the whole cinema? No. As soon as The Substance started,
that shot of the egg,
everyone went dead silent, and the only reactions were obviously the proper reactions. We had big laughs, we had big claps, we had big
winces and groans and stuff. Yeah.
And everyone was just locked in for the 2 hours and 20 minutes of that movie. And then afterwards, they all come out again and they just do a live Q&A with everybody. And it's just like, just TIFF in general is probably my best cinema experiences, because like the audiences are just the most respectful audiences. Like they get it. So, but I'm going to say The Substance is just my best cinema. And like, maybe not across my entire life, but like, that's just like the
one
immediate,
that's burnt in.
Because it was just, the energy was fun. And then everyone just like, was like, no, we're here to watch a movie. And they just shut the fuck up.
This is so fucking funny.
Like, it's great.
Because mine's The Substance in mid. Because, again, it's just, the movie's fantastic.
It's a fantastic movie.
But there was such an energy in the room. So we saw it at the Astor Theatre, so it's an old theatre. Maybe not like the perfect like conditions. The seats aren't necessarily as comfy and like it's an older screen and not great sound system. But as people started sort of packing in and stuff, and I was looking around, I was like, well, fuck, it's really full. I'm like, people, and this is obviously after all of its hype already, like The Substance again was like another hot ticket.
Yeah.
And then same deal. audience locked the fuck in.
Yeah.
But just the energy when the reactions were justified it's such a crowd movie.
It's such a crowd movie.
Such a crowd movie. And the last 20 minutes of the substance.
Oh my God.
And where it goes. And just, I don't think, in the good way of it, I don't think there was silence like through the laughter, through the groans, through for that whole last 20 minutes, like it was just everyone was at an 11 for energy.
Did you have any like claps?
They clapped at the end.
But did you get a clap during it? We had a clap during it. When Demi Moore is just looking like the fucking hunchback that she is, and she runs outside, and the next door neighbor says, and she just goes, "Fuck off, Carl."
Yeah, that's right.
That just got a massive applause, and I was like, I'm okay with the applause for this.
I remember it got a huge laugh. So the substance was by far, which then leads to our worst. I don't know if we have a joint worst, but you were here for mine. And it was at Sydney Film Festival.
That was where I immediately went. Yeah.
So Pete and I saw Chevalier.
Yeah.
At Sydney Film Festival, which wasn't great. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great.
The movie
it was fine.
The movie was fine. Thankfully, we backed it up with Reality.
Reality, that's right.
Which
with,
is
a banger.
Oh my God, yeah.
And a much better experience.
But yeah, Chevalier, the experience
This one's just stuck in my mind because it annoyed the shit out of me. So we were watching it, and the two people behind us, one of them starts talking and just
not
loud.
like
not
like
whispering,
like actual like
not that annoying. It was just straight up like making comments about what was happening and being like,
as we're talking
if that
now
was happening here, blah, blah, blah. And they were just chatting.
Yeah. And like it was weird. No one seemed to give a shit.
No one was turning around.
No one was turning around.
And when you're not on home turf, when you're not in Brisbane, I'm always like, let's just suss out what people like. Are they volunteers here?
In a Brisbane cinema, we are just like,
you're done. You're crucified.
You shut the fuck up.
You'll never see a movie again.
In a Sydney cinema, you are sometimes a bit like, well, is this?
I was like, what do they do here? Like, what's the go? And I was like, kind of like, we were like, is there someone going to volunteer? He's going to tell them to shut up, whatever.
And then it just kept going.
Second time they talked, Pete and I turned around and we gave him the look. Nothing
and sometimes
happened.
Giving the look is enough for them to go, okay.
Especially if they were ignorant, don't do it in the first place. But if they were just being like, oh shit,
I didn't realize I was,
Sure. Third time, I've turned around and gone, can you stop talking, please?
Yeah.
And she replied...
Yeah, her reply, I was like, what the fuck?
Stop paying attention to our conversation, just watch the movie.
Yeah.
And then Pete and I remember this so vividly. We turned back around and we both audibly, like, what the fuck? But then the worst part was, again, no one was doing anything.
Like, no one was on, like... It was weird to have...
Everyone's just like watching them. And I'm like, there's no way you're channeling that out because they're straight up talking.
Yeah.
They're straight up having a conversation.
Yeah.
While we're trying to watch a very dialogue-heavy film.
Yeah.
I would not know what's going on if I wasn't listening to the dialogue.
Yeah.
And then I have fucking Tweedledee and Tweedledum behind me going like... And they were talking about the film, don't get me wrong. But they were making dumb fucking... I think at one point the guy was like, couldn't do that. I mean, females back then weren't allowed to do that. And I was like, what the fucking fuck, dude?
Yeah, like were you around in the 1800s to know that? Yeah.
It's just one of those things, man. I was just like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. And then and then they stopped for a bit, and then it just happened again, and we turned back again. It was just like we were in a fucking war with these people.
Yeah.
And it didn't help that the movie I wasn't loving. Like, so then I'm sitting there going like...
it wasn't enough of a movie to engage you to like tune out of it. Yeah.
And then it's one of those things where it's like, if I go... Because I've gone out before and been like, hey, to like cinema stuff like, hey, there's these people talking.
They just won't shut up.
They won't be quiet. Like, I'm not saying like kick them out, but like, can you just
do like,
it on? Yeah. And then they come in and then they, I didn't hear them talk. And like, of course. And having worked at a cinema, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, because we can't do anything unless we see.
Unless you hear it and see it. Yeah.
And if we see it, I'd be like, hey, can you please keep it down? People are trying to watch the movie, or can you turn your phone off? People are trying to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. So that was, it's just stuck in my mind. And because it happened again this year at Bob Marley One Love. But justice was served. Right. See, justice was served at that one.
And the other screening that happened this year that it reminded me of the Demon Disorder.
Oh, yeah. Those fuckers. They were on the other side of the cinema.
So they were on the other side of the cinema and they were talking.
The dogs.
And they were just very like audibly loud towards the movie.
Yeah.
So
this is not to blame anything but them, but I also think the acoustics in that cinema had to travel across to us.
But we basically told them to be quiet. Then
someone, they snapped back.
They snapped back and they were like,
what's with this snapping back?
They snapped back
bullshit?
about basically the same thing. Like, we're trying to watch the movie and we were just like, yeah, we are too.
And we can hear you.
And then they kept they tried to like argue back again. And I think we ended up exchanging like the word
I think
fuck
the word
was
fuck was said. But
then someone in front of them turned around and like...
and this person was like 8 rows in front of them.
Then they turned around and told them to shut up as well.
And that we can hear you from down here.
That seemed to do it.
I think so. I can't.
I felt like towards the movie they were then doing more of like the whisper.
Yes,
which
but
also kind of pisses you off if you can hear that. But
so annoying.
It was just weird we asked to say be quiet, and then for them to go, we're watch the movie. And we're like,
like,
no, you're not.
If you're watching the movie, we wouldn't be telling you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it was...
Because if we're watching the movie, if you get away with talking in a cinema, it just means people haven't heard you.
Yeah.
Or you're at City Film Festival, they don't tell you to shut up.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, and it's not that...
And I'll also just say, apart from that Sydney Film Festival, every other screening has been...
brilliant.
Has been great.
And I had some issues at Melbourne Film Festival this year, and I was actually quite vocal about them too. But it was just like... I was in All We Imagine Is Light, which was like one of the hot tickets.
Yeah.
The amount of fucking old cunts who had their phones out. And I was like, yes, I get it. The movie was boring. Sorry to say, the one that's on randomly now on heaps of people's top 10 lists. I don't get it. But I was like, Melbourne Film Festival had volunteers sit in the sessions. And I was like, phones were out. Someone's phone fucking went off.
Yeah.
Old people are the worst at this. They fucking talk, and then they're like, "I've lived longer than you," and I'm like, "Oh, well, you're gonna die sooner." That means, and I'll have a quiet cinema.
So I will say, like the good thing that about not to like keep being like TIFF is amazing. TIFF is amazing, but like there is actually people like in the cinema.
Yeah.
They're like, so I remember
especially because a lot of those movies are playing for the first time.
I remember during Queer that someone did take their phone out, and I don't think it was like I don't think it was like, it wasn't to like do anything. It was more just like it probably had a message, but they took it out and immediately volunteers got like the light on hitting their like,
I love that.
And then they just go, oh, and it's like, see,
that's what you need.
So I feel like maybe take one person, like I feel like there's enough money in cinemas that you can probably hire someone to be in sessions. Just,
I mean, if they can enough, they would, but
but they don't.
They don't.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
let's keep on the fucking negative train.
Yeah, let's do that.
Worst supporting actor or performance of 2024.
Look, it was because it was worst supporting actor, and I was like, I went with a male.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I mean, I can't. There's a few bad performances this year, but I went worst supporting actor.
Yep.
Supporting actor.
Yep.
I can't go past Tahar Rahim and Madam Web because, dude, that was fucking 80 yard beyond belief.
ADR.
But like, it was bad. It was
terrible.
bad.
It was fucking terrible.
It was so awful.
I wish I put that in there. Actually,
yeah, that was like as soon as that was the first thing I thought, I was like, yeah, he was bad.
That was terrible.
And I found positives in Madam Web. I think Dakota Johnson did fine. The scene where she's at the baby shower is actually like that was really funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
But he is just fucking awful.
He is bad. If there was one career that would be tainted from Madam Web,
possibly him. Yeah.
Mine is simultaneously the worst, but possibly the one I enjoyed the most.
Yeah.
Because when this person came up on screen, I pissed myself laughing because I was like, what the fuck is going on here? As DJ Khaled in Bad Boys Ride By. When DJ Khaled rocked up, and I was like, what
DJ Khaled!
What is happening here?
Yeah.
And then he dies within 5 minutes, so I was like, that's why it's also the best performance.
Justified.
But just hilarious. He's trying to play this fucking gun-toting
it's
gangster.
Like you're DJ Khaled. Like you're not... There's no other like...
Oh, and Dylan and Balil, I believe their names are Bilal, knew exactly what they were doing.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
but it was terrible.
It's
His
terrible,
line
yeah.
delivery, awful.
Yeah.
Just his presence on screen, awful.
Awful.
Then he gets gunned down, hilarious.
Yeah,
Not that I want DJ Khaled to die in real life,
But
but
like,
I'm like, it's funny on the
when
film.
when you're an annoying character.
Props to him for having at least enough self-awareness to be like, I'll pop up in this. And maybe he just thought it was a great role. Maybe he was like, I gotta die a hero's death.
I kind of feel like DJ Khaled thinks. I don't know if he has self-awareness.
You might be right.
Yeah.
You might be right.
But hey. There you go.
Let's switch back to favorites. What was your favorite first time watch for this year, but not a movie released this year? So you watched a movie for the first time this year that wasn't released in 2024.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. For a minute there, I was like, oh, it's one for next year? No, just in general. So I had 2 first-time older watches.
Yeah.
They're not like super old, but like they were the first time that I watched them.
Sure.
One of them was for 0 to 100.
Which was?
Wet Hot American Summer.
Yes, I'm so glad you liked
So I had a lot of fun with that
That's
one.
like my Clueless.
And the other one, which I was very surprised that I hadn't seen, and in a random sanity bundle that I was just going through movies, and I was like, you know what?
When you got to get that 3 for 30, you got to get that.
And I was like, I'm gonna buy Boogie Nights and what else did I buy? I bought a whole bunch of shit. This was one of them because I was like, you know what? It's cheap in the bundle. I haven't seen it. I've heard good things.
Right.
And I ended up really, really loving this movie. 8 Below.
Oh my God, with Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's so good. I watched that so much growing up.
That movie.
Oh, we did talk about this.
Yeah,
It's got a
'cause-
hectic jump scare in it. Yeah.
Heck, like insane jump scare.
Yeah, brutal jump scare,
And
yeah.
like,
I love that
obviously,
movie.
any movie that's going to have a dog in it's going to hit you. And this movie, fucking,
Yeah,
I
rips
think
you
I was
apart.
sitting on the couch being like, well, I'm going to hug my dog now.
Yeah.
Even more so than I already do.
Yeah.
But that movie is fucking sad.
It's a Walt Disney film.
But it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful film.
Like
I
it's
watched
a
that
great. It's like
so
and
much
I was
growing
like,
up.
I can see why this movie did like really well.
Yeah.
And Paul Walker, who has kind of been one of those actors that sometimes gets a bad rap for being not the greatest actor.
Yeah.
He's
very good.
in
He's
it.
very good in it.
Um,
It's a detour from Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
For sure.
But also, I want to say, like, if you think that Paul Walker can't act, then watch Running Scared as well.
I love Running Scared.
Fuck.
Running Scared is great.
So good.
That's a brutal movie.
And Joyride's really good as well.
think
Also
I've
known
seen- I
as
need to watch Joyride.
known as Roadkill.
Okay.
Depends how it is. But yeah, 8 Below and Wet Hot American Summer
we
were
go.
fun little first time watches for me.
All right. I've got 2.
Yeah.
Not one I expected to be on this list.
Yeah.
National Theatre Live's Prima Facie with Jodie Comer.
Jodie Comer,
Fucking
yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
They re-released it in cinemas this year and I had a chance to watch it on a screener.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. It's a tour de force performance and
Yeah.
then bang, it's a fucking gut punch of a story. So if you get a chance to see it, it's about a barrister who often represents people who she's like a defense attorney trying to get people off, and there's a sexual assault case where she manages to have the perpetrator walk away free, and then she herself is sexually assaulted, and then kind of sees how the other side of the law works. And it's incredible. It's true. And she's the only person on stage, but the way she utilizes the stage and stuff is amazing. She was phenomenal. So I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And then for the first time ever, I watched Let the Right One In, which is the Swedish vampire film, which was then remade into Let Me In, which is brilliant.
Which is really good on its own.
Fantastic film.
Yeah.
I liked Let Me In more, but the foundations that were set by Let the Right One In, that is a very off-putting film, especially later on when there's no weird way to say it, like good way to say this. There's like child nudity that is very like much for the story, but it's off-putting, and then you feel uncomfortable, and then something's revealed about that character, and you're like, holy fucking shit. So it's a movie that makes you feel super uncomfortable, but really well made, very somber, very dour, great, like very like different to other vampire movies, I guess I've seen. So those are the 2 that my favorite first time watches for non-2024 releases. Peter Gray,
Nick LeBarrow.
what did you learn about yourself as a film lover in 2024? Asking the deep questions.
You know, like, I don't know if this is a case of like it's new to me.
Sure.
But I think it's just becoming
More apparent.
Like, the theater experience to me, I still really, really value.
Yes.
I know that a lot of people have issues with it because everyone can't seem to focus for 2 fucking hours without their phones, which we've obviously already had
touched on a little bit. Yeah.
But like, it's because like I'm like, and maybe it's because younger audiences just, they've grown up with streaming and they just don't have that
Desire,
those memories of like what it was as a kid to go to like either going open, like I would go opening night a lot with my mum, but then just getting your mates together on like a Saturday afternoon because you've been in, and I think this is also a difference with like the way that school is now because everyone's on social media. That's like, it seems like it's, as us growing up, it was like you saw your friends Monday to Friday at school, whatever you needed to talk about, you spoke about at school or on MSN Messenger. But it wasn't, I don't know. I felt like
much of that taken away.
I felt like I escaped a lot of the bullying culture. Sure. But then you'd get your mates together and you'd either you'd stay over at each other's house and you'd get your fucking, your 5 weeklies. You'd get your 5 weeklies, or you'd go to the movies, and then and then I think it's also then that comes down to valuing the theater and then valuing ownership of movies. Like I don't like that I'm hearing that they're stopping manufacturing of Blu-ray players and things like that, which fucking annoys the fuck out of me.
It's rough,
especially when you still have like boutique releases like, Umbrella and Mad Men and that sort of stuff. They're are releasing these incredible
substance release up there. It's fucking awesome.
But they're releasing these like incredible movies in these really, really nice packages.
Yeah.
And then, it doesn't matter how good your streaming is, 4K is still 4K disc is still going to look.
I would even
argue
superior. That Blu-ray quality is still better than streaming.
Yeah. So I think it's just every year, the more that streaming seems to be what everyone's preferring, and you just want to go, I hate it. I don't hate. I'm not saying I hate streaming because there are some great streaming movies.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
And obviously we have some great shows because of that. But it also makes me miss we're never going to get a 10-season show with 24 episodes.
No,
of each thing.
No, not at all.
We're never going to get that.
No, not at all.
And you're never going to get that. And you're never going to get that weekly.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's just looking back at what we had.
Yeah. Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Nostalgia.
So I think that's what I'm learning about myself. That I just
you value the cinematic experience, which is probably why we're such ardent defenders of it.
Probably, yeah.
When people go, what's wrong with someone won't take a photo of a screen? Well, it's an experience that is confined to a space, and what you experienced in that space was special.
Yeah.
And you want to hold on to that.
I think
I don't need it to be disclosed to the world.
I think a lot of people are mistaking the fact that, if you're watching something at home and you want to take a photo of your TV,
you're not distracting anyone
You're not distracting anybody. If you're having a conversation with someone, you're not distracting anybody else.
Oh, Pete and I have watched screeners together where we we'll have chatted about what we're looking at or
but
the classic thing comes up, it's like, oh, what's this person in again? You fucking pull up
But your living room is not this theater is not your living room.
It's a public space.
So
that is shared,
and we look at public space. If you're taking something out and you're annoying someone and they are annoyed by it, and if it's a public space, you are not allowed to say that. It's one of those things where their public space is the same as your public space. So if you're getting annoyed at someone telling you to turn your phone off, they have every right to tell you to turn your phone off too because you're annoying them.
100%.
Goes both ways.
100%.
So the easiest thing to do is if you can't put your phone away for 2 hours, then don't go to the fucking cinemas.
Yeah. Easy as that.
That's the easiest thing.
Simple.
Yeah.
What did I learn about myself?
What did you learn about yourself?
Well, fuck. All right, I'll follow that then. No, I think this year, and it's something that I have thought about previously, but it's definitely how I present myself as a reviewer. And I sometimes refrain from using the word critic because I think, and maybe that stigma is there to be broken, but I do think there is a divide between critics at the moment. I think there are people who are wanting to hold on to the sanctity of prestigious films being the only things you can give 5 stars. And I sit here and go, Twisters was a 4-star movie to me. I fucking loved that film. I had a great time with it. And then someone will go, well, that's not comparable to something like Citizen Kane. And I'm like, well, no, they're 2 completely different fucking movies. But I realized that my reviews and what I want to get across with my opinion on films is how much you can enjoy something or how much fun something can be, not just the technical aspects of it or not. If it has a great message. We were talking earlier with Rhiannon about It Ends With Us and all the stuff going on at the moment. And I remember saying in that review, I was like, just because a movie has an important message at its core doesn't make it a good movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it shouldn't be seen. I'm not saying don't go see It Ends With Us, but I'm like, I don't think that was a good movie. But it does have something to say, and I mean, all the behind the scenes stuff aside. But there are people who will attack you for that. And this year is probably the most I've had criticism about my reviews. I put a tweet out being like, if you gave Deadpool and Wolverine 1 star, you need to watch more bad movies. And then people just came out of the woodworks. No, I gave it 1 fucking star because it is a bad movie. I'm like, well, it might be bad to you, but I'm going like, that movie, it had fun moments. And that was like, it's not the death of cinema, Deadpool.
I think this is that thing where people are like, I didn't like it, so therefore it's 1 star. And you just go, you're allowed to not like Deadpool and Wolverine.
100%.
That's fine. We are probably 2 of the critics that we liked it, but we didn't. We're not like.
I was very middle.
We're not. We're not like the ones that are like 5 stars.
And it hasn't, like many things, it actually hasn't grown on me the more I think about it. It's probably gotten worse. But
you're allowed. So it's like a case of like, if you think it's 1 star, okay, but like you go, when you look at that, you just go, well, is the acting terrible? No,
Hugh Jackman actually has. I think one of the most emotional moments in a movie.
So you go, if the acting's not terrible, it's like if it's directed competently, which obviously everyone's fucking up in arms. But I'm like, but I was like, but there's got to be.
There's fun. It connects like universe as well. Like it does its job. It did what it said it was going to do on the tin.
Like it's just we've seen reactions to some movies where it's 1 star, and it's a bit like, but then it's like 4 stars for something. And look, like and
then I get criticized for that.
Yeah, like we both gave Twisters 4 stars.
Loved it.
I remember I saw a tweet the other day about someone saying like, oh, I'm so sick of all these kids who haven't watched movies because they're all giving Nosferatu 5 stars. I gave Nosferatu 5 stars.
I gave Nosferatu 5 stars. I fucking loved that film.
Am I a kid who doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about?
I watch a lot of movies.
But I'm just like, everyone's, and it's the other thing. Yes, everyone's allowed to have their own opinion. So you can have your 1 star review, but you can't get up in arms if someone's like, but I liked it, and you just can't see.
I think that's where I was going with that. It's like then like it's almost like gatekeeping an opinion. Being like, no, my opinion is number 1. I for such a long time withheld doing star ratings on my reviews. Because I find it arbitrary, but that's important to people. And I'm in the business of not just being myself, but also providing opinions, and some people base that. So I started adding star reviews this year. And in the case of that, it's like, I'm going to rate it based on how I feel coming out of it. You know what I mean? So Nosferatu, I walked out. I remember when we walked out of our Nosferatu screening, I was like, Peter, I'm fucking one of my favorite movies of the year. And it's stayed up there. And then something like Challenges. I remember walking out to Wendy, our Universal rapper. We love Wendy. She's the best. And I said, Wendy, I think that might be my favorite movie of the year so far. She said, really? She's like, you? And I was like, Wendy, that movie fucking slaps.
Yeah. And that movie has stayed in to me, it's still one of the best
criminally fucking disregarded at the Academy Awards, but fuck them.
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet. That's true. But it probably will be. Because there has not been a lot of good lead up for it.
No, that's true.
But that's what I've learned about myself is that I think, especially as a reviewer starting up, you always are cautious of other people's opinions and you want to make sure that yours is being seen and heard. But for this year, I was just like, fuck it. Like, this is what I think. And I'm going to start pushing against people for their opinions, but in the sense of if it's attacking other people's opinions. You know what I mean? Like, I think being a defender of that is important. But I like the idea that there is aspects of what we do, and we're both good reviewers, I would say. I think we give very balanced reviews, and we're very thorough with what we talk about.
I think, like, you know, there is that thing where you just go, well, you got to be like, you can be a little bit humble about it. I'm like, I feel like we're both allowed to say
we do well.
That, like, what we do it pretty fucking well.
Which then makes me go like, okay, so then we kind of have a skin in the game, which excites me because then there are people who have either said things to other people or even said things to us who who often criticize us for how we present our reviews and how we talk about film. Oh, it shouldn't be done like this. You have to do it this way. Well, I call them the old guard, and their time is coming. But in the sense of like, no, I think this is just the natural evolution of it. And I'm not going to be told how to review a movie or be told that I have to, be part of an association to do it. You know what I mean? So I think that's, yeah, let's go for the fucking deep cuts there. But in the sense of like, I think I've very much so more felt more comfortable in my skin in 2024 as a reviewer, which kind of leads perfectly into the next one. What do you want to achieve in 2025 then?
I know.
As a reviewer. Like, how do you climb more of the mountain when you're already at the top,
Look, I just want to keep going on the trajectory that I have. Like
it's pretty good.
I look at some of the things that have happened this year in terms of having the American production company reach out to me to say, can we use your quote in The Last Show Girl?
Yeah, very cool.
Like that's cool.
Poster and trailer.
Like that's, and then being told, oh, you're going to be your quote's going to be on the marquees in America.
Awesome.
And I was like,
that's great.
That's fucking cool. Having some of the interviews that I got that I'm like fucking name dropping. I don't care. But like I put myself forward for Kate Winslet.
Oh yeah, that's
not thinking that I would get it.
Anything will come
that
through.
was purely a case of like, I'd love to speak to whoever involved, but hey, like if Kate went, like if there's an opportunity, put me out there. And it's like, I just put myself out there, and then I have to look at it. You know what? I've got a good fucking track record. I have, my articles. I go ahead with like what I say I'm going to do.
You put in the work. And Kate Winslet was approved. And then I found out that it was only approved for a very small amount of people. Yeah, exactly.
And that was like,
it's a proof of the pudding.
Holy shit. Right? And then it was a case of like, oh my God, I'm actually going to be in a room with Kate Winslet.
That's pretty great.
Which was crazy. So I just think in the last like 4 years, I've really
the
continued up.
Has been steady,
and now I just want to keep going. And if it leads to like, being able to do this on a more
frequent financial,
I'm not going to say full time because this is fucking full time, but like Nick and I do have like 9 to 5.
We have
normal jobs, and that's just proof of how much we love doing this and how much we're willing to put our own money into getting something. So if I can make I don't know, I want people to be like, oh, so you're only in this for the money? No, if I was only in this for the money, I still wouldn't be doing this. But of course, I would love to make money at doing something that I genuinely love. But I just...
Well, because that also then allows us a bit of freedom to then try more things and do more things. And even...
Because like there are a lot of like...
better quality content and stuff.
There are a lot of opportunities that I'm getting that I just can't do because of finances.
Yeah.
Like when you get told, oh, hey, will we see you at the Cannes Film Festival this year? And it's like, I'd love to be there. Obviously, there's a spot for me, but like I can't get there because I can't just like drop money.
No, exactly.
So basically, what I want to achieve is like as long as I'm continually going up, then that's all that matters.
I'm in a very similar boat. Like I want to do more interviews next year. I did 127 this year.
I did 185, I think. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to do more of those and sort of skew a little bit towards that. The review stuff obviously still there, but like obviously, do a bit more of that sort of stuff. Keep that trajectory going because it's been a pretty fucking stellar year. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I've always toyed around the idea of doing more YouTube stuff, like longer form content, because getting a full review out in 90 seconds is tough. And I always feel like I have more to say, but the algorithm only allows that much normally. And we're good yappers. We're good at having a chat. Good at talking in the long form. So I think looking at things to do in that space would be interesting. But again, it's time and money.
Yeah.
We have only limited amount of both.
Yeah.
If we could create time, we would.
Absolutely.
But I think just continuing what we're doing, which is great. Obviously, a monthly review marathon continues on from here. 0 to 100 continues on throughout the year. All of our reviews will keep coming, more interviews. We've already locked away. We've done interviews for 2025. We've locked away interviews for 2025.
We have, we'll be involved in some festivals.
We would, active festival stuff coming up, which is
really, really exciting.
Moderating, doing panels, be there for most of the weekend. Like, it's awesome that you know, actually, so like those things like that, like live events and
live
Q&As,
events, which we've started to get asked to do more of. Sometimes we can't do it because of whichever reason.
Just commitments, right?
But, it's good to know that like
we're on the radar.
That when they're like, oh, should we get these guys to do it? So that's always
we can do a duo act too.
Yeah,
we come as a duo.
Yeah,
double the money.
That is also the other good thing where it's like even though we write for different outlets, we are very happy to always.
And those opportunities that come through and whatnot, it's quite good. So no, I think 2025 is going to be a fun year.
Yeah.
Let's talk more movies. What movie? Let's talk more movies. What movie do you? So this one most recommend, just in general.
Yeah.
Right?
So this was a question, Ashley. Movie watching girl.
Ashley has loads more questions coming up too.
So it was what?
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So it was like, what movie do you most recommend and why? And I guess I'm just taking that as, I don't know if that's 2024. I don't know if that's like when people say, what movie should I watch? So that's could mean anything. To me, I'm going to go off of if someone was like, hey, what's a movie that you feel like everybody should watch?
Sure.
And that's also a very difficult question because
it's a big question.
So
that's a big old question.
Like, and I don't know if I just do I go with like a movie that I consider one of my favorites? Do I go with the one that like introduced me to everything? Yeah. I don't know. So I was then going, okay, it's probably going to have to involve Michelle Pfeiffer.
Of course.
But then I go, everyone, like, Batman, you've all seen it. And if you haven't seen it, see it. But that's not what I'm recommending.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, Michelle Pfeiffer. And I was like, she's done a lot of things that I feel like people either don't know about or have kind of forgotten about. And I was looking at movies and I was like, you know what? Because also this director is someone that I think everybody loves. And I feel like this is one of his movies that a lot of people forget. So obviously The Departed is one of your favorite movies, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
In fact, it is my favorite movie.
And I feel like a lot of people forget.
Directed by Martin Scorsese.
And I feel like a lot of people forget that Martin Scorsese directed Michelle Pfeiffer in a movie.
He did indeed.
He also directed Daniel Day-Lewis and Winona Ryder in the movie that got her an Oscar nomination.
Interesting.
The Age of Innocence.
I would never have picked that in a million years. But
because beautiful movie.
Incredible looking film.
It is long, but that's Scorsese
through and through.
And I feel like a lot of people just forget about this movie.
Yeah.
Because it's also not one of his like... it's
like
not
most renowned. It's not Goodfellas. It's not Casino.
And it's not like and it's like it's rated G.
Yeah, it's
like
it's the most tame.
It's tame. I mean, it's tame, but it's also like it is about like this Michelle Pfeiffer's this countess, and she sort of has an affair with Daniel Day-Lewis and
scandalous.
But it's just a really, really beautiful movie, and I think her performance is so underrated.
Yeah, right.
She's incredible. Daniel Day-Lewis is never going to be bad. I feel like Winona Ryder really kind of proved herself like not that she's a bad actress, but I feel like she was, it was like Beetlejuice, Heathers, Mermaid, like, this is like, oh, she can do, I was thinking, I was like, yeah, that's something that I don't think a lot of people have seen.
No.
So you should get out there and see The Age of Innocence because it's a beautiful, beautiful movie.
What a very interesting recommendation.
And it's Martin Scorsese who's never faltered, and Michelle Pfeiffer, who I still think is the greatest living actress of all time. Sorry, Meryl. So
we do love Meryl.
So that's where my head went.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go one that's just general as well. Yeah. And this is a movie I was shown at a very young age that I was very formative, but I also think it literally has everything: action, comedy, romance, adventure, sloth. The Goonies.
I was like, what is this movie? So then I was like, Ice Age?
It's Sid the Sloth. The Goonies.
The Goonies.
I think The Goonies is
It's
just
so good.
It was, to me, it was either that or Back to the Future one. I just think those two movies are the epitome of like.
See, maybe I should have just been like, fucking watch Batman Returns. It's so good.
But Age of Innocence is a pull. Like, I think that is an elite
That was a
pull.
nice little deep cut.
I like it.
Yeah.
But I went with The Goonies because I think the rewatchability of that film is so good.
Do you know why it's got rewatchability?
Why?
Because Goonies never die.
Goonies never say die.
It's so good.
I love that movie with a passion.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is so thrilling, but it's so funny. It has so much heart to it. I love every character, no matter how annoying they get.
Come on. Come on.
The Truffle Shuffle. Which we've covered on the show, actually.
We
the
did
Goonies.
for
We did for Lost City.
Lost City.
So I think The Goonies is just like, and I feel like for the most part, you could probably show it to someone of any age.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's a bit of violence. There's a bit scary. Like, Sloth could be a little bit scary. I know in the opening scene, it looks like a man's hung himself, but like, it's just part of the charm.
But also the mother, like,
threatening to blend their hand.
like, Jesus. Also,
story.
Sean Astin,
Yeah.
Martha Plimpton, Josh Brolin, Corey Feldman.
King It's a huge
cast.
Huge cast.
It's so good.
That is the ultimate movie. I reckon.
Yeah.
And it actually has 2 young kids.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe just too young. I don't know. But
The
that
weird
would be
thing,
a
you
movie
could
I
probably
would
show them The Age of Innocence.
Yeah, show them Age of Innocence now, and then maybe like 2 or 3 years, show them.
Oh, the Goonies. It's
Goonies
so
was so
good. It's
formative
so
for me
good.
growing up. I love that.
It's so good. Yeah.
What is a movie? This is an interesting question. What is a movie you would be okay seeing be remade?
Okay, so I think Nick and I are both kind of on the same wavelength when it comes to remakes, where we're not that we're not pissed off.
I'm not
by them.
fussed. If it's good, it's great,
Yeah.
and if it's shit, then we have the original.
Yes, like
It doesn't bother me that much.
like obviously something like The Lion King, just like the new one. Who's it for? But we're not.
$1.6 billion worth
We're
of
not
people, I guess.
mad that it exists.
No,
it's
God,
more
no.
just like it's weird that it exists.
Yes, I would
But then
agree.
you have a remake like Suspiria, which completely does something
It just
different.
does something new with that
Yeah.
film, right? And I love that Suspiria remake.
And then you have something like, I know that Speak No Evil got a lot of flack for being remade.
yeah,
Obviously, compared to the original, it's a lesser film. On its own, it's
completely
fine.
fine. Completely different ending too.
Completely different ending.
Like
Which is,
it's a whole half an hour different film.
But yeah, so overall remakes, I'm like, if something gets announced, my only issue would be depending, like if it was a movie that came out in like 2010 and they're like, we're remaking it, I'd be like, no.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
European films, I'm like, that's fine because people don't.
And if you get to open it up to a broader audience, like people
Speak
may,
No Evil, I'm like, a lot of people haven't seen the original.
and then they went back and watched
that's
it
why-
and found out how much.
But that's
darker
why
it
it was like, if this gets people seeing that, cool. And if people don't see the original and they just see this on its own, they'll think it's a really good little
They'll think it's
thriller.
fun, yeah.
Yeah. So overall, I don't mind when things are remade. But I was looking at this question like, okay, something that I'm surprised maybe this hasn't been remade.
Sure.
Or
Interesting.
movies that I would be like, I could see this being remade and like that could be kind of fun to see what they do with it. And I was thinking, I'd like to see what someone does with Groundhog Day.
Interesting. Yes, a modernized Groundhog Day would be
yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
Who would you want to get
be
that?
in it?
No, to make it. Then.
To make it?
Whose take would be funny or decent or explore something interesting within it?
I wouldn't hate Judd Apatow's Groundhog Day.
Judd Apatow's Groundhog Day would be funny, and then like 2/3 of the way through, you're like, oh, I'm just watching this fucking serious family drama. Do you know, interesting, who just popped into my head?
Yeah.
I really like what they did with their first feature film, which came out last year, and then they had a really great documentary come out this year. Josh Greenbaum,
Yeah.
who did Strays, which I thought was fucking hilarious.
And he did Bob and Star Go to
oh, he
Vista
did
Del
too.
Mar.
That's right.
Oh, I had a
there we
great
go.
little moment with him when I was like, I watched that movie with audio commentary, and he's like, oh, you're the one that watched it. And I was like, it's so funny.
He's a very talented guy. That
Yeah.
Will and Harper documentary is fantastic.
And
So
Strays is a good time.
I love Strays. I thought it was hilarious.
I can see Josh Greenbaum doing.
Or Jonathan Levine.
Yeah.
I think he would have an interesting, interesting take on it. Because I love Long Shot and I love Night Before and 50.
And I know that like people would probably be like, we don't want it to be gender swapped. Doesn't have to be. But when you were talking about Joy, I was like, I could see like Kristen Wiig.
Oh, she'd be hilarious.
Doing it. Like, that'd be great. But then you know what? If they just chose it as like they had a Bill Murray character, and I know that this is like, you sort of think Bill Murray and be like, oh, you could do like Bill Hader or Andy Samberg, one of those. You know who I think would be really fucking good? And this is going off of one of his movies from this year and his new series coming out next year. Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell.
He's a comedic
in Groundhog
genius.
Day.
Yeah. Huge.
Like, come on.
That'd be pretty fun, actually.
I'd like to see that.
A Glenn Powell suicide montage of him just constantly killing himself.
Well, it's funny because I was like reading up on the original.
Yeah.
And they reckon it's like 12 years that he's in the spiral.
Holy
because
shit.
You know how
that seems terrible and terrifying.
Because like he learns, they were like, you need, because like to learn to play the piano, you need to like dedicate
12 years.
However many years, like to pick up a skill. And I was like, 12 years.
Jesus. Sounds fucking dreadful.
So yeah, I think Groundhog Day would be fun. So
interesting.
And you know what? We've weirdly manifested things, especially with 0 to 100.
There has been a lot of weird manifestation going on.
So
that show.
if all of a sudden in the next like few months
you
we see
brought
Groundhog
up
Day, so
it's
but
not gonna
that's
happen.
all right. It'll cross over.
It all comes together
So
eventually.
yes, Groundhog Day, I would be okay with a remake.
Interesting.
Because I'm also someone who's like, yeah, the original's funny, but I'm also not like, you can't touch it.
You can't touch it. It's sacred. You're like, no, it's fine.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went with something that I think had lots of potential, but the execution was shit. And I would actually love to see.
Oh, the original's execution.
Yeah, the original's execution was shit.
Yeah.
And some restructuring of the story, better stars, not to discredit completely who was in the film, and maybe a bit more of a serious non-PG-13 tone.
Wow.
I'd love to see the sci-fi drama of two people in space, one who may have awoken the other person.
Oh, Passengers. Right.
I think there's actually a great fucking movie in there.
Yeah.
And I would love to see it just redone, remade with a director who, like, it went through the studio system. It's a PG-13 film. They didn't want to get too dark.
Yeah.
But I generally think there's a great
it's a dark story.
And I think commit to that. Make it an R-rated drama and restructure it around. The issue is that the movie's really fun to start with, and then he kind of goes, oh, I'm going to wake her up. I would start the movie with her waking up.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Discovering he's also awake.
Yeah.
Have the 2/3 of the movie being like, what's going on? Why are we here? And then the third act reveal is like, oh yeah, I woke you up.
I woke you up. Yeah.
I feel like that would be awesome. It's restructuring. Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, like I love them both in their own ways, but I feel like just having like a bit more, I see this as like a more low budget A24 drama.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So
who would you cast?
That's a great. I knew you were going to ask that, and I was like,
well,
part of me was like thinking as I was talking. I was like, what names can I fucking come up with? I really think, for the guy, honestly, and because I haven't seen Baby Girl yet, but Harris Dickinson, I'm just in love with at the moment.
Yeah.
Jeremy Allen White would probably be really good in that too. But shout out to our Iron Claw alumni.
Yeah, I'd be like, do you want to just throw it?
Just
like
the whole cast of Iron Claw on the ship, playing the Von Erichs. Actually, Jeremy Allen.
That's where they went.
Jeremy Allen White has that energy where he's like, there can be an unassumingness to him, but like he's holding a secret. That would be very interesting. For the female, like if we were doing like a similar sort of story. Shit, man. I don't know. Do you have anyone?
My immediate first thought, and it could be because as soon as you mentioned Baby Girl, I was like, yeah, and you're probably going Nicole Kidman. I was like, Sophie Wilde.
Oh, is Sophie Wilde in Baby Girl?
She's in Baby Girl.
I love Sophie Wilde.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
She's got a good role in Baby Girl.
Fucking love Sophie Wilde. Okay, yeah. That put Sophie Wilde in there. I'd be so happy. Because again, like especially after talk to me, there's that inquisitiveness that leads her to talk to me, Sophie Wilde.
There you go.
That leads her to like go down that demonic rabbit hole and talk to me. Would work as well for that as well. But yeah, I just think that was just the first one that came to my mind. I was like, I love the concept of that film, but it just was not executed well for me.
And the thing is, though, there are little tiny moments in Passengers where you can see how she's like,
for sure.
when she's like, you woke me up, and she's like, you've killed me.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it teeters on being like this sort of dark tale.
And then they just don't ever
commit
to it.
Yeah.
They don't commit to it. So
yeah. Nice.
I would just like to see what the tonal difference of committing to the drama would
And
be.
you'd probably be like, we're just going to commit to an unhappy ending.
Oh, 100%.
Like you wouldn't have them try, like you'd...
No one is having a happy
like you'd
ending
just be like, we're not going to do this.
Andy Garcia's not randomly rocking up at the end of my movie.
That was weird. Lawrence Fishburne's not in there.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's just them. It's literally just them.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Jamie asks a question. And this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
3 surprises and 3 disappointments from film festival movies you saw this year.
Film festival movies.
Yes. We'll start with the surprises.
Surprise.
Funnily enough, all of mine were at MIF. All the movies that surprised me. Because I obviously only did Sydney and Melbourne this year. I was away for MIF. The movies that surprised me were Dee. I was excited for it, but fuck, that movie was... that was a 5-star movie for me. Grand Theft Hamlet.
Yeah.
Have you seen this yet?
I haven't seen it.
It's brilliant. So Grand Theft Hamlet is a movie that takes is taken place entirely within Grand Theft Auto 5 online. And it's about 2 actors during COVID, obviously struggling with the pandemic in their way in the UK, who try and put on a production of Hamlet within Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
And it is so funny, especially if you know nothing about Grand Theft Auto, you will still find it absurdly hilarious. If you understand some of the intricacies about Grand Theft Auto Online, there are so many great jokes about it. But it's also this really touching story about people coming together. And there's some it's set during COVID, so there's some really heartbreaking moments during it as well. So that surprised me. And then one of the biggest surprises, a movie I knew nothing about going in, is a documentary called Secret Mall Apartment. And it's a documentary about an artist / activist who him and his friends move into a mall.
Right.
They find a secret area within a fire escape and stuff, and they literally build an apartment inside there over a couple of years. And it is astounding what they get away with. But there's times where it teeters on like the annoying side of activism.
Yeah.
But the movie itself the documentary is really, really fascinating.
Yeah, okay.
And that one shocked me. So that's my surprises.
My surprises, I'm like, so I will say one big surprise, and was at the Sydney Film Festival. And I initially chose this movie purely because of its lead actress and the fact that it was produced by somebody that I really like. And I was like, I don't really know anything else about this movie, but I'm in Sydney for these few days and I want to watch it.
Yeah.
So I watched it and it ended up being just one of the sweetest, funniest, like really, really heartwarming experiences. My old ass.
I thought about it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
like I saw
it,
and I was like, Aubrey Plaza produced by Margot Robbie. I was like, I don't really need much
that
else.
movie was
But that movie
great.
ended up being so much funnier and so much more like tear-jerking than I was
it's an
expecting.
emotional movie.
That was like a really, really nice, that was a nice little surprise.
Bless the person at the Brisbane screening who everyone was in support of her, but when the
crying.
reveal happens, it was the
right.
and everyone was like, "Oh, we feel bad." Like there was a giggle, but then we were like, "No, we get it."
Another big surprise. So I saw this at TIFF. This was one of the titles they gave me. So they gave me I got screeners for a few things before TIFF, and I watched this one. I was in San Francisco, just about to go to TIFF, and I watched this one, but I couldn't release a review until it premiered at TIFF.
Yeah.
And I sort of, again, this was one that I read the premise and it had actors in it that I liked and was like, yeah, I'll give this a go. And it just ended up being this really, really like tight little thriller that was I guess, looking at like people's actions and people's reactions to things. So it's called Sharp Corner.
Okay.
And it stars Ben Foster and Kobe Smulders.
Love Ben Foster. Love him.
And it opens, so Ben Foster and Kobe Smulders have moved into this house with their daughter. And on the night that they move in, a car crashes into their house.
Right.
And it's all about the fact that where their house is on a corner that is known for having many people die
Oh,
like
Jesus.
with just because of the sharpness of it. So sharp. So it's like the title's very fucking
In your face.
Yeah.
Like, it's on the nose. Yeah.
and then but then it comes down to Ben Foster is like he's like, so Colby Smulders is like, what do we do? Do we sort of petition to get this sort of fenced off? Do we move house? She's like, I don't want to live in a house where my daughter can't play, daughter or son?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, where they can't play in their front yard in fear of being killed by like a car. And then so Ben Foster starts learning like CPR and things like that because he sort of wants to become the hero in his own story and almost wants people to die.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
On the so that he can sort of save them and like so that way he can justify like staying in that house.
Oh my God.
And then their relationship obviously starts breaking down
Because of that, yeah.
But it was just this like little movie that I was like, feels like it's going to be probably just like dumped on like VOD or streaming.
Yeah, okay.
But like Ben Foster, like incredible, like of course he is. He's Ben Foster.
He's Ben fucking Foster.
But yeah, it was just this little movie that I was like, this is fucking great.
Okay.
So that was a nice little surprise.
Shit, yeah.
And another surprise. What would be another surprise? I probably went into most things at TIFF expecting greatness.
Sure.
I will say, and it's one that I'm very excited Nick is about to watch, The Order.
Oh, yes. I'm very excited. I've got
Like,
a copy of that to watch.
Again, looking at the credentials, I was like, yeah, this movie's going to be good.
Yeah.
But I was not expecting to walk out of that and I was like, this is like a 5-star movie.
Shit.
Like,
fuck, I'm so excited.
I was fucking
so keen.
blown away. Like, Justin Kurzel, just the man knows how to direct a movie.
Big fan of Kurzel.
Like Jude Law, Nicholas Hoult, Ty Sheridan, like incredible film.
Yeah,
just like a really like, and it just reminded me of those like 70s, 80s like crime action movies. Like it's just like it's not pretty. It's
gritty.
And like the fact that this Order, a lot of people sort of look at the way that they act and the way that they think of the world has been related to like the January 6th riots and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just an incredible movie and I hate that it's just being like it's not getting any like attention.
No. It's
I went into that like sort of expecting it to be good.
Yeah.
But like I was just like this was like I'm like it's in my top films of the year. Like it's incredible.
I can't wait to watch it. I'm watching it tonight as of recording. My disappointments. I already mentioned this one, but All We Imagine Is Light. I think there was there was a lot of acclaim going into it, and I do struggle with slice of life movies, but that one was a bore. The Bike Riders.
Okay,
I was quite disappointed with The Bike Riders. I love Jeff Nichols. I just think the movie didn't have the substance and the characters that he normally has. And probably the one that I'm most disappointed with, and this is probably partially my expectations, Kinds of Kindness.
Yeah, okay.
Really struggle with Kinds of Kindness.
Yeah.
I'm a Yorgos fan. People were at me like, you just don't get it. I'm like, fuck you. I watched Dogtooth before you even knew who Yorgos Lanthimos was.
Yeah.
I just didn't click with me.
Yeah.
And I remember saying like Kinds of Kindness, being like maybe I'll just watch them like separately, and I've just had no desire to go back and watch them.
that.
So
yeah.
Those are my disappointments.
So my disappointments, one of them was it's out on Disney Plus now.
Yeah.
But I saw it at TIFF. It's called Hold Your Breath with Sarah Paulson.
Oh yes.
Again, it was one that the premise seemed really cool, and I really like Sarah Paulson. And Sarah Paulson is great.
Yeah. But the movie,
the movie was just, I was like, it just didn't utilize what it had.
Yeah.
Another TIFF title that disappointed was called Ick.
Oh yes.
So it's directed by Joseph Kahn.
Yes.
Stars Brandon Routh and Mina Savari. It's a fun premise. It does have big midnight movie vibes because it's about this weird, I don't even know what the word is I'm looking for. Like not a plant, I guess it is kind of a plant. But yeah, it's just this thing that's like runs rampant in this little town, and if it touches you, you die, and that's why it's like ick. But
so it sounds fun, but
it's fun. But I was just like, this could have just been so much more. Like I felt like it didn't really know. Like, do you want to be taken seriously? Do you want to just completely go balls to the wall? It kind of was like, didn't know what it wanted to do.
Right.
And I was like, this is the kind of movie where you just need to be gory and stupid as fuck. And
and it just didn't commit to that.
Okay. Another disappointment. I don't know. I feel like
Were you disappointed?
I feel like at film festivals this year there wasn't much that like disappointed me. There is one title that like completely underwhelmed me, but it wasn't a film festival title.
Which was?
Hundreds of Beavers.
Ah, yes. May pop up later on, I guess.
Yeah.
Hundreds of beavers.
So I'm just going to say probably those two were the ones that like underwhelmed me or disappointed me. So
There we go. Moving on. Another question from Ashley, and I'm going to take the floor with this one for a bit.
Please do.
Because Ashley has asked if I could share horror stories from my time at the cinema.
Oh,
working at the cinema.
From in there, I was just like, oh, am I just not including this?
This is the Nick show now. But no, I've written two
the
things
straight white
down.
man gets his prime. That cool.
About fucking time.
Fucking minority.
The one and only time I'll ever be called a minority. I've written down two key phrases here. First one is getting bashed. Now, I didn't get beaten up.
Right.
But you would be shocked at the amount of times people threatened to bash me up. So I worked at a cinema that...
I can't... Part of me is like, given also, I don't know, given what the kind of work that I'm in, I'm also kind of not surprised.
I'm also less so now, but very much in my early 20s, was a very antagonistic person.
Right.
And some people, Rhiannon, would still say I am to these days. Funnily enough, met Rhiannon at the cinema, so there's horror story number one. No, it's a joke, guys. Come on. It's a joke.
We're all friends here.
We're all friends here. So I often, we would always have lads, like little eshays, try and sneak in. And then you kind of like staunch up to them a little bit, try and kick them out. And then they're like, oh, fucking bash your head in. And then you're like, no, you won't. You're half the size of me. And I was like young and dumb. And I was like, I'll fucking fight them if I want to. So like I had that energy about me. So that was awesome. There was one time we had two toilets at the cinema. One was downstairs, one was upstairs. And the downstairs one was for public use. Like even if you weren't going to the cinema, South Bank.
South Bank? Yeah.
And so a lady came up. And she's like, is there a bathroom? Oh, she's like, can I go to the bathroom? I was like, oh, yeah. So, like, there's public toilets downstairs. Go there. The ones down there for ticket holders. She's like, no, I'm going to those ones. I'm already upstairs. And I was like, hey, look, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But I'm like, if I let you in, it's just one of those things like, I get paid to do a job. I'm doing that job.
Yeah.
So then she starts arcing up. And I was just like, whoa. I was like, not going to deal with this. I'm like, you just go to the downstairs toilets, and she's going on and on, just yapping. We had a security. This is how crazy the cinema was. We had a security guard who would come in on Friday and Saturday nights. Like that's how hectic the cinema got. We had to hire security to go around the cinema and stay with us till like 1 a.m. because I was a projectionist. He came over, turned his body cam on, which is even funnier. And she's ripping into me. I'm going to bash your fucking head in, cunt. You have no idea who the fuck I am. She's half my size. Literally like up at my sternum height.
Like you could just go
boop. So I started laughing.
Yeah.
I was giggling. I'm like, you're not going to do anything. Why the fuck are you fucking laughing at me, you fucking dog piece of shit? And I was like, because you wouldn't be able to bash me up.
Like you'd be like, I'll give you a free hit.
And then I said at the time, I was like, don't you need to piss? I was like, you could have gone downstairs and pissed by now. She's like, don't you get fucking smart with me?
You're like, no, I wouldn't dare. Get
security grabbed her by the arm and said, you're gone. Like, you're abusing staff.
Yeah.
And she shouted, and so this is also the stairs at the cinemas where people would line up to get their tickets ripped.
Yeah, I remember
there was a full line.
Yeah.
She shouts out, you're fucking useless. And then didn't even think about this, just turned around and said, your existence is useless.
Who she said that to? You?
She said to me, and then I said, your existence is useless to her. And the amount of people who laughed in that line, and I was like, I win there. So I would people threaten to bash us up a lot.
Wow.
For a gross story, because I also have gross stories.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The layout of the cinema.
I'll be like, Ashley, you don't want to know gross stories from where I work.
Very different body fluids we're working with in that. Maybe some of the same after this story. We don't know.
So I like that I'm not going to elaborate on where I work. I'll just let
that fester for a second. Yeah. The layout of the cinema I worked was you rip people's tickets, they go upstairs, you go one way, there's like 4 different cinemas.
Yeah.
And then you go right. It was the
really
main,
big one.
the big cinema. which was like a 500 seater, and then it was like a 200 and 200 cinema, massive cinema. I had walked upstairs and I was like, something smells funny up here. So I'm like walking around to investigate. Oh, okay. There's a bit of vomit on the stairs. All right, fuck. There's people vomit, whatever. There's a little bit on the walls. I'll clean it up. And then over the two-way radio, I go, like, hey, Nick, can you come upstairs? And I was like, yeah, come on. From the furthest cinema away.
On the left.
On the left side.
Yeah.
Down 4 cinemas, down the stairs and into the bathroom was a trail of projectile vomit. This, no joke, was probably almost 100 meters down of just puke on walls, puke on the floor, puke downstairs. Got into the bathroom. They'd filled the bowl with vomit. I felt so bad for this person because they were obviously, this was not
They were
good.
obviously very sick.
They were super sick.
Like
and they had tried to get into bins on the way through.
They were
too.
like trying to do the right thing.
They were trying to do the right thing. Fucking vomit on the floor.
You can tell they're like, there's meant to be a bin here. God damn it.
And they're just like, these poor fuckers. Vomit if I had to estimate, like 10 liters of
Can
vomit.
I just ask, would you have preferred that they just, instead of trying to go to the bathroom, that they just did it in the one spot?
Of course, because it took me an hour and a half to clean. And as I don't want to get gender biased about this, but as like the guy who was like,
as a guy who knows how to fucking vomit.
as the guy, it was then just my job. They were just like, you kind of got to do the gross job.
Right.
So I spent an hour and a half cleaning up the vomit, and that's no discredit to our mums out there who are cleaning out the vomit as well.
Yeah.
And it was disgusting. Also, once found a poo inside underpants stuffed behind the toilet. That was my second week on the job. It was a child's pair of underpants. They'd obviously shit their pants. And
the parent just thought,
either the parent or the kid has just fucking
Yeah.
ducked the undies behind that there. There are some horror stories. There's like other horror stories of like, not necessarily horror stories, but like when the fire alarms go off in a cinema, a dowser closes on the projectors. So, because ultimately you're supposed to evacuate people.
Yeah.
But the cheap cinema that South Bank is, sometimes the fire alarms would just go off and there's no threat.
Right.
So we were able to reconnect the dowsers with magnets. One of them wasn't working, and there was a sold out session of The Jungle Book playing where for an hour of the film, I had to hold up the dowser.
Jesus.
So I was just sitting there, arm getting tired, and I was like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to enjoy The Jungle Book through this
Like if you're
fucking window that the people have
yeah.
paid for. So, and like projectors not working, projectors shutting down. We had like a sold out midnight session of X-Men Apocalypse in 3D where we couldn't get the 3D working.
X-Men Apocalypse.
And the 3D ticket costs more money.
Yeah.
So we had to play it in 2D and then go out and get the exact change for every ticket for 500 tickets.
Fucking hell.
Like there was just so much shit, like technical shit that would go on. But yeah, between bodily fluids and fucking lads and little old ladies threatening to bash me up. You would get called every name under the sun.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I remember having an argument with a lady who kept. This is no good feeling, especially if you're not in the wrong. I had a lady shout in front of like a whole line of cinema people going in that I was racist to her. And you never want to be called a racist, especially if you're not.
No.
But her 2 teenage daughters who were underage had gone into Baywatch. And they were under 15, which you had to be 15 or have a legal parent, guardian with you. And she'd bought a ticket to go in with them.
And then just
didn't go in.
Yeah.
And she was just sitting there. I'm like, I was like, we get fined.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Like,
it's
so
like,
either go in-
I snuck into MA50 movies. I get it. But if you get caught, you get caught.
Yeah. So it's like either go in there and watch the movie with your kids or take your kids out.
And then the whole thing started going. I was like, you're only doing this because we're black. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, here we go. I was like, not wanting to deal with that. So, horror stories. I learned the worst customer service skills at that place, but there were some fun stories. The video store, I absolutely want to talk about stories from that one day, because there are some great ones from that place. I worked and I obviously met Rhiannon there too, so we both came out of it alive. The Wild West of cinemas. So, and anyone in Brisbane who's been to the South Bank cinemas knows.
Yep.
If you know, you know.
Yep.
There's a reason. It's where all the train lines converge, and it's like the cheapest tickets in Brisbane.
And there's a reason that we just don't do screenings there.
We had one screening there in my entire time there, and it didn't go well.
I think I've been there
Great Wall would have been one of them because that's the one.
Oh, I did not see Great Wall.
Okay, that was the one I did.
The Lego Movie was there.
Oh, that's right.
And
then
Tusk.
I went to the Tusk screening, which is hilarious. So, good times. Both Ashley and Dom Murphy asked what our favorite movie scenes of the year is, and that's actually a question we're going to touch on later on because that's in our own questions for 2024. So we'll move on through. This is a fun one. What would our Oscar votes be in the major categories? So I've gone picture, director, best actor, actress, supporting actor, actress. We'll just go one for one.
Yeah.
Best picture, I couldn't choose between The Substance or Challenges.
Right.
They would have my pick. Right now, The Substance would have my pick.
Yeah.
I would probably put that one.
See, I'd be between Substance and Honora.
And, valid.
Yeah.
Because Honora is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Best actor, I got Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok in Nosferatu. Because if you want to talk about a genuinely transformative performance, that's the one.
That's the
one.
one.
And don't give me that bullshit of that, like, he was in prosthetics. Gary Oldman was in prosthetics to look like Winston Churchill, won the fucking Oscar. Jared Leto had stuff done to his body to make him look like, I can't remember the character's name, from Dallas Buyers Club. There's no such thing as prosthetic. What Bill does in that film, what he does changes to his voice and the physicality, absolutely is worthy of a best picture vote in my book. Best actor in my book.
Best actor. I think Bill Skarsgård's such a good choice.
You can take him if you want. If it's the right one.
No, I think I'd rather let's have a little bit of
discourse about it.
Look, this one's it's one of those ones where it feels incredibly obvious because he's actually in the talk, but his performance is really fucking good. Adrian Brody.
Yeah, 100%. He's fantastic in The Brutalist. Dude's amazing.
It's a really fucking good performance in The Brutalist.
Best actress?
This one came down to
whoever you don't take, I'll just take
basically this one came down to Demi Moore and Mikey Madison.
It was the same thing.
Yeah.
I wrote Mikey first, but then I'm also like, fuck, Demi's unreal.
Out of TIFF, Mikey Madison, I was like,
100%.
And then the more that I think about The Substance and what that means to someone like Demi Moore.
Well, we spoke about in the last episode, that career Oscar sort of mentality.
But then I watched The Substance the other night.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking brilliant performance.
Yeah, 100%.
But I was like, Mikey Madison's just so fucking good. So it's between it's Mikey or Demi.
It's the same with me. Yeah. Like I wrote Mikey, but Demi's in my mind.
Yeah.
Best supporting actor.
Supporting actor.
I would love if we say the same person, actually, to be honest.
I mentioned who I would.
I wrote that person's name down.
Chris
Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth from Furiosa.
He's so good.
It is the best role he's ever done.
It's so good.
And it's perfect in the film.
Yeah.
And why no one else is talking about it, because it's maybe a little bit goofy, is bullshit.
Yeah.
Absolute bullshit.
He's incredible.
Chrissy Hems.
Yeah.
Supporting actress? Bit tough.
Supporting actress is tough. This is stacked.
Hard not to go Margaret.
It's hard not to go Margaret.
Is Zendaya
I feel like
supporting?
I feel like she's more. I think she's more lead.
It's funny hearing people talk about that and go like, the more they watch the movie, they're like, oh, maybe Josh O'Connor's the lead. But
yeah,
no, I get that as well, but tough. So
but yeah, Margaret's really good.
Margaret's up there.
Like Ariana is really good in Wicked.
I get it. Yeah.
I will also say this is another one that no one's talking about because I don't know what the hell's happening in this movie. Ana de Armas in Eden. She's so good.
So
I don't know what's happening with that movie, but I don't understand how a Ron Howard movie with Jude Law, Sydney Sweeney, Vanessa Kirby, Daniel Bruhl, and Ana de Armas is just not talked about.
Interesting.
I think it'll be one of those ones that'll pop up in Prime 2025. Ooh. But she's so good in it. She's like the right amount of camp with the right amount of like emotion. She's really good.
I'm excited to see
it. It's tough. Like there's a lot of great supporting actress performances this year. So yeah.
And best director.
Best director.
I've gone just for the sheer what this fucking director pulled off, Brady Colbert.
Yeah.
The Brutalist.
Yeah.
The fact that this movie was made for $10 million
Yeah.
is astounding, but this is an epic. This is a saga. It's fantastic.
Like, there's a reason that Monumental is like used in every. It is.
well
like
deserved.
it's incredible.
I still get goosebumps thinking about that opening scene.
Yeah.
It is perfect.
Yeah.
So, and just to pull off a movie that feels so quick for its 3.5 hour runtime and manages to capture so many important parts of someone's life, but also be fictional.
Yeah.
Is wild.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful looking film. It's shot so well.
And it's like weird, like it's weirdly uplifting, even though it's really
kind of dark.
Really
and down.
dark
It's like,
and-
it's not a very pretty light about the immigrant experience. Not that many movies are that do handle that. But yeah.
Well, no, yeah.
But I've gone Brady Colbert, who I found out that's how it's the last name.
Corbett,
I always thought it was Colbert, but it's Colbert.
Yeah, it's either him. I don't. But you've also like what Coralie Faja does. With substances.
I know.
That was like,
and I don't think Denis Villeneuve should be taken out of the conversation either, because Dune Part 2 is fantastic.
yeah,
it's a great year to be a good director.
it really
That's
is.
for sure. So,
Yeah,
it's a good question, but we're not Oscar voters. Sorry,
we are not.
Our opinion doesn't count.
You never know. You
never know.
One day.
One
we
day.
will be. Can I also just say, look, this is not like. Not in the Oscar chat, but can I just talk about directors that really fucking surprised me this year? Zoe Kravitz.
With Blink Twice, absolutely.
Like,
brilliant debut.
Yeah.
Brilliant directorial
yeah.
debut.
And just that was a
One to keep an eye on.
banger of a movie.
One to keep an eye on. It's in my little stack of
is,
haul there. Carlo from Luna Red Films asks,
Carlo!
how do we stop Francis Ford Coppola from making another movie? And I wrote an answer for this. Stop buying his wine.
Yeah.
Stop buying. That's how he funded Megalopolis.
I'm like,
if that's how you want it,
this is,
don't buy his wine.
I'm like,
So, I know what you're going to say.
what am I going to say?
I know what you're going to say because you have the same sentiment
What
as
am
me.
I going to say?
You're going to, Nick, you're such a dashing young man. No. Megalopolis, while it wasn't great, was such a bold swing for the fence that it made me excited that there's filmmakers out there still going, fuck it.
I think that's it. I'm like, I feel like if we live in a world where that movie is allowed to exist, and he's allowed to and I'm like, well, let's not take away what other movies Francis Ford Coppola has made.
The Godfather Part 2.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
The Conversation.
Like, he's made
Apocalypse Now.
incredible films.
Incredible films.
And yes, the last few haven't been great. Like, what the fuck, Twixt?
Whatever Twixt was. And then whatever Megalopolis is
But I'm
trying
like,
to be.
I just feel like let the man cook.
So here's my thing, right?
We might not even get another one.
If you have 10 directors take such audacious swings like Francis Ford Coppola did with Megalopolis, and 3 of those end up being all-time banger films, I would sit through the other 7 just to make sure those 3 are there. I would support that for that vision to come across.
Yeah.
So I totally understand why people did not like.
Yeah, like I get it.
Do you know who didn't vibe Megalopolis? The MIF crowd in general.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So boring sitting with them while I'm sitting there having the time of my life.
Yeah,
Andrew Hansen from The Chaser, Zach Ruan from Arnie Donna behind me, going like, I'm in heaven.
Yeah.
But no one else was.
No one else was. Yeah, like I get and I get he needs to stop but I'm like, I don't know, I think it's great that we still have directors who just like don't give a fuck and are like, I'm going to make this movie.
Yeah.
And like,
I'm all for it.
I don't care if it.
And it excites me.
Yeah.
It excites
I think
me.
it's fun.
This is a bit of an extension of a question from earlier, but Bruce Bannister asked what the worst behavior or bad behavior you've seen at a film premiere is. And I'm taking it as a premiere as like a big, red carpet style shit. And I wrote down at the Elvis premiere, a cast and crew at Fair. Yeah.
The one that we,
one on the Gold Coast, where people who knew people involved with the film or were involved with the film, despite security being in the audience, despite Austin Butler, despite Tom Hanks, despite Baz Luhrmann being there, Catherine Martin, Skylar Weiss, people were still pulling their phones out and scrolling on their fucking phones. And the security had the fucking lasers. But the amount that I saw it fucking happen, and I'm like, you are either here with someone who was involved in the film or you yourself were involved in the film.
Yeah.
And the fucking disrespect. And this is coming from me, who I was like, I did not like Elvis at all.
Yeah.
But I'm still sitting there going like,
Still respecting the process.
still respect the fuck. You're in the same fucking cinema as Austin Butler,
Yeah.
who's in the fucking movie.
Yeah. Who's the best thing about that
Who
movie?
is the only good thing about that film. Like,
Yeah.
so that pissed me off. But yeah, it kind of stems to the behavior we were talking about in other screenings
Yeah.
and stuff. And
I mean, and like we've been at screenings where a particular I'm not even going to say media person because she's not. I'm not going to name her. But this person who runs a website who is now using ChatGPT or AI to write her reviews, and I know that for a fact because up to a certain point they were the most illiterate reviews you have ever read. She is not a nice person. I can just go off the fact the way that she treated me, but also I know from many other people the way that she talks to them. But I've multiple screenings. She has had her phone out. At other multiple screenings, she gets very annoyed when if she's not allowed to be on a red carpet, even though she hasn't even like put forward to be on a red carpet. She throws her weight around. She's just really, really nasty. And I've seen this behavior a lot. And it's like, you're not going to get like where you are with your website and how, and I don't want this to come across like an age thing, but considering how old she is and how long she says she's been in the industry, if you're not one of the first people that's being thought of for a red carpet, then you haven't done anything with your supposed like connections.
Yeah.
I've seen firsthand the way that she speaks to people on the red carpet, and a lot of these people on the red carpet are film studio reps.
Yeah. Who we deal with quite frequently.
And they deserve all of the praise for what they have to deal with.
Also just respect.
Just respect as people. Yeah. Like, it's not that hard. But yeah, she is
this
really...
person sat in front of me at Wonka and pulled her phone out full brightness in the middle of the fucking movie.
She's really nasty.
I've never spoken to her, but I saw her do that and I was like, nah, I don't like her anymore.
And I'm just going like, and like regardless, even if I hadn't had anything personally to do with her, I've seen the way that she treats other people and it's fucking nasty.
Yes.
And I don't...
I think there is a big issue, and I think it's going... I think it's healing, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. But there is entitlement issues within this industry, big time.
Yep.
And there is what I call the holier than thou approach. We watch and talk about movies.
Yeah.
We're not curing cancer. No. We're not fighting fires.
And like...
We're providing an opinion about escapist entertainment and for people. We are not gods, but there are people
who think that
they are. And you're fucking not. And I hope you're watching this because you're a piece of shit if you think so.
And annoyingly, someone who really is entitled is going to be part of the ACTA Festival. And I kind of hope that their behavior is caught out.
Oh! I just want to... Nah, I won't say it because we're a part of the festival. Yeah, God damn it.
When I found out that they were going to be involved, I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
I really want to say
because I've been at events with this person and they're not good.
I've seen it. Yeah. I'm getting excited. But yeah, just don't be a prick, basically.
And like this, I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but I'm like, Nick and I, we could feel very entitled if we wanted to.
Oh,
because look, we are very aware that we get shown movies very early. We get given access to a lot of amazing people. We could be very like,
give us more, give us this, I want this,
but like,
let me do that.
We are like, every opportunity we get, we're like, this is amazing. Thank you so much.
I'm
like,
usually pinching myself.
We can't really take anything for granted.
We're very, very lucky.
So
very, very grateful.
But yeah, so unfortunately there is a lot of bad behavior out there. But we also choose to surround ourselves with the right people that we don't have to deal with.
That's very true.
Much. Yeah,
that's very true.
Yeah.
Our boy Mitch Lewis,
Mitchie,
asked a very fun question.
He did ask a very fun question.
What is the most insane director swap for 2024 movies that you could imagine. Now, I didn't necessarily do a swap.
Right.
Because if we swapped, I wouldn't want to see the other version of this.
I did a swap just because I was like, this could be, But I mean,
I would want to see, and he didn't say one we necessarily would want to see.
True.
He said one that you could imagine. What would be the most insane one you can imagine?
Oh, see,
No. Take it as you will. That's how
so when he read the question, I was like, what? Like Francis Ford Coppola doing the Wild Robot?
Yeah. And then Chris Sanders
doing Megalopolis, and I was like,
yeah.
oh, and I was like, oh wow.
And it's like, now I actually kind of want to see that.
So I did. So I don't know if you know the name Mark Dindal.
No.
But he made a movie this year that I absolutely fucking hated.
Oh, okay.
And he has a filmography that includes things like The Fox and the Hound, The Little Mermaid, The Rocketeer, Chicken Little.
Stop it.
So
have we done the same one?
So if Mark Dindal, who directed the Garfield
Oh my God,
movie,
we've done the same one.
Well, we've done him.
We've done him anyway, yeah.
And I was like,
Stop it.
Which meant I would love to see what...
No.
Did you choose Terrifier?
Oh my God! I was like, what would Damien Leone's
do with the Garfield movie
look like?
Oh,
that's too good.
That's great.
Because I said to you, I was like, I'm holding mine. I was like,
yeah.
What the fuck? Okay, because I said Damien Leone's Garfield movie or Robert Eggers' the Garfield movie.
Yeah.
Two very different films.
I just purely was like, Mark Dindal, who fucking... The Garfield movie was the biggest piece of shit.
I hated the Garfield movie.
Which means Terrifier, and then just Damien Leone doing
Garfield movie. I can't believe we have the
great.
same thing. That's hilarious.
That goes to show
there you
that
go, Mitch. You can take the kids to Damien Leone's Garfield movie.
Wow.
You know what?
Great.
I would pay to see that. I don't know if I'd pay to see Mark Dindal's Terrifier 3.
No, I'd pay to see Damien Leone. Well, I was like, the thing is, though, like, we wouldn't pay to see it because we'd be invited to it. But yeah, that's crazy that we chose the same thing.
That's funny.
Wow.
There we go.
That'll be fun to rewatch in real time of you just
us realizing that.
Great.
Well, let's keep the Terrifier 3 chat coming up because John Cooper asked what was our favorite kill from Terrifier 3.
Favorite kill? I think, it's difficult. Like, the shower scene's so good. I'm going to go with the fact that just because the effects on it were great, it happens after we've already been quite shocked with something. So it's the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yes.
And the mother.
Oh, yeah.
And she gets her arm cut off, and then it's the split in the head.
Head that's rough.
And it's just that, and like her eyes are still, it's just practical effects are just fucking beautiful. But I mean, the whole opening of that movie is like, this is fucked.
Oh, big time.
That whole movie has
fucked.
great kills. But that one, I think just because it was more so that when she was like on the ground and he's like lining up on the shoulder, and I was like,
you just know what's coming.
Like the shot, so that hurts in itself, and then it's the head split, and I was like, oh. So I think that's gonna be. I think that was I mean, there's so many in that movie.
It's hard for me to go past the chainsaw bathroom.
I mean, the chainsaw bathroom is
mental. And then him also ripping the skin off someone's skull. The cop, the security guard.
Yeah.
Fucking wild. Terrifier 3 has some.
It has some fucked up shit. Yeah.
More horror-related stuff from John. What was your favorite horror movie of 2024?
Favorite horror movie of 2024?
Yeah.
Like the substance is like on that borderline.
So here's 3 that I discredited immediately.
Okay.
The Substance.
Right.
Nosferatu.
Right.
Longlegs.
Yeah.
Because they're
horror, but they're
horror adjacent. They're more like Longlegs is more of a procedural psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Nosferatu is far more of it's a scary drama.
A gothic
sort of thing.
And the Substance is like
it's a satirical movie ultimately. So for straight up horror, I went Smile 2.
Smile 2, yeah.
Had a really great time with Smile 2.
So Smile 2, or depends if this one is considered horror or not, but like Strange Darling.
Ooh, interesting. Hey, because I'd be like, that's like a serial killer, cat and mouse thriller.
But yeah, look, Smile, like it's really hard to go past Smile 2.
Great year for horror in general. Like Immaculate, I would call a horror film.
Yeah.
First Omen, I'd call a horror film.
Immaculate was really fucking good.
So and like I'm not saying Nosferatu, Longlegs, and Substance
are not
horror films. But they have genres that far exceed or are more prevalent than the horror aspects.
Yeah.
If I was going straight up horror, Smile 2 would be up there for me, which I love that movie.
So good.
What was your favorite re-release of 2024? So a movie that was re-released in cinemas in 2024 that you got a chance to see. Did you see anything that re-released? So I realized actually saw a couple. I saw June Part 1 again. That was re-released before June Part 2, which was great.
Did I see
That's not mine. I don't know if you did. Interesting.
Let me just.
Mine was I got to see the original Star Wars trilogy in cinemas, and I watched them in a marathon, in the monthly movie marathon format. Watched them 3 back to back. First time that I'd seen them all. First time I'd seen Empire and Return of the Jedi on the big screen.
Cinemas,
so that was great, and I just like went by myself, took a little bag of snacks throughout the day. It was cute. Took myself out for a little date because Rhiannon was like, there is nothing less I'd rather do than watch 8 hours straight of Star Wars. I was like, wrong. Fair. But fair enough as well.
Oh, I know what No, I did.
Yeah.
The Raid.
Oh, of course. Yeah. The Raid's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Great re-release. Yeah. 4K restoration of it as well, I believe.
So, and then I bought it as well.
So good.
And the first time I'd seen it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Banger film.
Yeah. Caught a train, caught a bus to the Gold Coast to watch that shit.
Fucking worth every second.
So good. Incredible film.
What was the most enjoyable, this is again from John, most enjoyable family film or kids film of the year for you?
Enjoyable family film.
It's hard for me to go past The Wild Robot.
Yeah, The Wild Robot was...
Loved The Wild Robot with a passion. Probably my favorite animated film of the year,
wholesome.
I would say. Not many family films I loved this year. Like Sonic would be up there.
Sonic was a fucking banger movie.
Sonic was a banger.
But like, if you're going like full family, it would be
The Wild Robot.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Dom Murphy, major friend of the podcast.
Yeah.
Always sends lovely messages about the show.
Yeah, super lovely.
Favorite needle drop of the year? Now, there's the one that's looming over everyone's heads.
Yeah.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
By NSYNC.
But then it was also like...
Wolverine, which was great. Really funny.
But then also like a prayer for Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, good point.
So that was a good one.
I also put Bang a Gong by T-Rex at the end of Longlegs.
Yeah.
Fucking finishing it with Nicolas Cage going like, Hail Satan. It's so fucking good.
And as you said, All the Things She Said by Tattoo in a Nora. That got a good little giggle.
My favorite though. I've got a favorite.
Yeah.
Smack My Bitch Up in Kneecap. Fucking love that scene. Hilarious. Especially in a movie that is about a band and it's using a lot of their original music.
Yeah,
the fact that Prodigy rocked up and they used Smack My Bitch Up for this like hilarious chase scene.
Smack my bitch up.
It's so good. And the bridge of that song, and him running, like his head coming across, it's great. I thought that was a perfect.
Kneecap, great little movie too.
Kneecap, severely underrated. So much so, me and Josh, Film Notions fan, are going to see them live when they're playing in March next year.
Nice.
I was like, I'm going to have some like ketamine thrown at me or something, I guess. That's what they do. But now I'm into Irish drill rap, I guess. So
it's a great movie.
Great movie. Yeah. Great needle drops across the board.
Yeah.
Purgatory Flicks or Rupe from, I always get
who is such a champion for 0 to 100 as well.
Huge champion for 0 to 100.
Makes me very happy. Thank you very much.
All of our shows popped up in his Spotify rap, so he's a legend.
Thank you so much, man.
Incredible. Love this question as well. One movie, one drink, and one food dish that you get to take on a desert island. I've got a theme with mine.
Right. You go first.
I got the triple P.
Right.
I got a triple P. And it wasn't intentional until I realized, oh shit, like this makes sense. I'll go the drink of the food. Pepsi Max.
Right, yeah.
Could take beers too. I'm a fiend for beers. Love beer. Pepperoni pizza.
Yeah, right.
Pepperoni pizza. Now, I'd picked the movie first. I didn't try and go for an intentional alliteration.
Yeah,
and a lot of people might go, Nick's going to take The Departed because it's his favorite movie ever. The thing about being stranded on a desert island is that you kind of want to feel good. Maybe you want to feel a bit uplifted. Maybe you want to have a laugh.
Yeah.
And while The Departed is fantastic and weirdly a comfort film, I did want to take a movie that I think would make me laugh the most and I think is one of the best comedies ever made.
Right.
And to keep with the P's, that is Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping. I think me sitting there with a pepperoni pizza or Pepsi Max watching Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping would keep me on the island.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm here is how I would feel.
Oh, and you know what? It wouldn't just be an island. It would be a lonely
island. Bam.
Bang.
Take that.
Yeah. Also, another boy band.
There we go.
Oh.
On the vision. Anyway.
Not by them.
Not by Tattoo. No, that was a tick. That was a straight up tick. What about you, Pete? Movie, drink, and food dish.
All right, food dish. I mean, I do love pepperoni pizza.
Can't beat pepperoni pizza.
I'm gonna say purely if hopefully it can. Look, this is one of those things where obviously, is this like pepperoni pizza is like you get it once? Or is it continual?
Nah, continual.
Continual. All right.
Sure.
If I can get it continual and it's cooked every time, give me Moreton Bay Bug.
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely.
That meat is...
Yeah, it would be to perfection.
That
you
meat
get this
is...
for the rest of your life.
Okay,
yeah.
So Moreton Bay Bug.
Okay.
And you know what? Just give me post-mix Coke.
Okay, yeah.
Or glass bottle Coke.
Yeah. No, a glass bottle Coke.
There's different flavors, you guys.
Absolutely. There's different flavors.
And a movie, you know what? So initially, I probably would have gone thinking like a
Batman Returns,
a comfort movie like Scream, Batman Returns. But then I was like, no, you know what? As you were talking about laughing, and this movie, we briefly mentioned it earlier, and every time I put it on, I just piss myself laughing. It's so stupid. And
no, it's not that. No.
Well, what do you think it is?
No, it's not. It's not Wet Hot.
It's not Wet Hot American Summer,
but
it's in that same sort of vein. I would give me Coke, give me more fucking give me Buff and Star. Go to visit. It is so funny. And every time I watch that movie, I'm guaranteed to, or like Jamie Dornan is so fucking funny in that movie. There's just always just the way that Kristen Wiig and Annie Mumolo are able to just have their little reactions to things. There's musical numbers. It's just a great movie. It's so underrated. It's so funny.
There we go.
So there you go.
Island set. Film Toppings. Gal from Film Toppings asks, what was the most underrated film? This is the last listener question, by the way. Most underrated film of 2024.
Underrated?
Underrated, underwatched. More people should see
All right.
this.
I've got two.
Go.
Strange Darling.
Yeah.
Your Monster.
Which is kind of getting... Great pick. Strange Darling is starting to get
Strange
a bit
Darling
more
starting
of
to because it's like now it's out on
a bit of word of mouth.
Yeah,
VOD. Your Monster,
and
great.
Your Monster, like, woo,
yeah,
such a good movie. If you want romance, if you want comedy, if you want horror, if you want drama, if you want music, watch them all. And I'm not just saying that because I love Melissa Barrera, but she's great in it. And Tommy Dewey. Incredible.
Brilliant.
And
which we've interviewed
both. Like he interviewed Tommy, I interviewed Melissa. Tommy, he responded to something on Instagram from me.
He's so
really
nice. He's such a sweetheart.
It's a great little movie, and I hope that maybe now that it's on VOD, it'll find its audience. I'm hoping it gets released on like Blu-ray. Or
that would be really cool. Actually, yeah.
Those two movies for me. Yeah.
Mine is a indie drama that came out this year called Ghostlight.
Yes.
Which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking brilliant. It's I don't know if they might be husband and wife or they're partners at least. Writing, directing duo. And it's a beautiful story about a man. He's a construction worker who just very mild-mannered, dealing with some shit at home, maybe getting divorced from his wife, issues with his daughter, verge of breaking point, just being like, fuck all this. Finds a small community theater that's run by Donnie DeLeon, who is fucking incredible. I love Donnie DeLeon. Triangle of Sadness.
Yes.
And he kind of finds ways to express himself through art and through a small production of Romeo and Juliet. And beautiful, just a beautiful movie. Small indie film that they literally got it submitted. They finished the movie like past the deadline for Sundance and still just managed to get it on like the late deadline.
Yeah, nice.
And yeah, truly incredible. But if you haven't seen Ghostlight or Your Monster or Strange Darling, check them out.
Please
because
do.
they're severely underrated.
It's one of those things where it's like, oh, there's no good movies out there. You just need to look harder.
You need to look just a little harder.
A little harder.
Just a little bit. Thank you so much for the listener questions. That was fucking incredible. That was so many great questions.
Yeah.
And thank you all for
made us think.
making us think, but also making us supporting the show, making us support the show. Yeah.
But then also realizing just how good 2024 was.
I mean, the fucking 2024 hits keep on coming. Pete,
Like there was more good than bad.
I would 100% agree.
Yeah.
I would 100% agree. Let's talk about 2024. So this is
All right.
now us 2024 in general.
Yeah.
What was some of your favorite? We said favorite performance, but that's tough. So what was some of your favorite performances?
Favorite performances.
I'm sure we're gonna have some very ones that.
I mean, we've all like Demi Moore is great.
Brilliant.
Margaret Qualley is great.
Brilliant.
I really I don't want to get her name wrong.
Okay.
So if you want to say,
I've got a couple.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage and Longlegs.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant in Heretic.
Yes.
Glenn Powell in Hitman.
So good.
Mikey Madison
Yes.
in Aurora.
Yep.
Bill Skarsgård.
Yes.
Nosferatu. And one of the most underrated performances of the year, I believe. Naomi Scott in Smile 2.
Yes.
That exhausted me. Watching her exhausted me.
She's so good in Smile 2.
That was an exhausting performance. I can't imagine what she had to go through.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So yeah, I didn't want to pronounce this name wrong. Adria Arjona
Hitman.
in Blink Twice.
Oh, shit.
So she's great in Hitman.
But
Blink Twice, because I feel like Blink Twice is just not getting spoken about enough.
No, absolutely.
She's so good in Blink Twice.
She's amazing.
Can I also just talk about Channing Tatum's great in Blink Twice. Naomi Aki's great in Blink Twice.
That whole fucking
It's
cast
a great.
is brilliant.
Zendaya in Challenges.
Yeah.
Like
there were so many brilliant.
we talked
Also,
about
Chris Hemsworth already.
Nicole Kidman in Baby Girl
can't wait.
is
I can't wait to see that
great. I'm very excited that this man gets to watch
So
that soon.
tough to. And it's shit that a lot of these movies we're naming are just not getting talked about.
Also, Willa Fitzgerald
Oscars.
in Strange Darling.
Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. Carl Gallner in Strange Darling.
And please don't read about Strange
No,
Darling before you see it.
Go in blind.
Go in blind because
in
that movie
blind.
will, it'll flip you on your fucking ass. It's great. It's so good.
What was some of the biggest surprises of 2024 for you? We've spoken about how Mean Girls.
Mean Girls,
Mean Girls probably my number one biggest surprise for me.
The Beekeeper.
Yeah, dude, I loved The Beekeeper.
Like
that was a lot.
So we
of
saw
fun.
the trailer for The Beekeeper and we were like, this will be trash, but we'll fucking love it.
Even funnier with that, we were shown the trailer before the Iron Claw screening, and we were sitting next to the Roadshow reps.
Yes.
Beck and Amanda, shout out, love them.
Yes.
Literally turned to them and I was like, are we getting a screening for that? And they were like,
Nah.
no. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, it's one of those.
So we went and saw it opening day.
We both saw it opening day.
I saw it opening day as well, yeah.
And
loved it.
fucking banger of an action movie.
Oh.
Ends up then becoming this neat little hit. Like actually did quite well.
Yeah. Fucking
Has
gold.
the fucking fight sequence in the hallway with the dude with one leg
So fucking
is
good.
so good.
Brutal.
That was
using
just a
brute
night.
strength.
Like I went into that being like, look, I'm gonna have fun because it's Jason Statham.
Yeah, of course.
But I was not expecting that to be like a legitimately
Genuinely fun,
good movie.
good movie,
So
yeah.
that was a good surprise. Mean Girls was a massive surprise.
I put Kneecap on there as well because I don't know what I was expecting from it, but I genuinely loved that movie as well.
Yeah.
And I put VHS Beyond.
Right.
Because it's coming after a string of pretty mediocre to bad VHS movies.
Yeah.
And I thought Beyond was fucking strong. I was very pleasantly surprised with that. Some disappointments. For
I'll
2024.
also
you
just
got-
say
sorry, you got-
another.
another surprise?
I'm just looking at everything and being like, oh yeah. Not that I thought it was going to be bad because it's directed by people who have made movies that I love, but like I fucking loved Abigail.
Radio
Like,
Silence,
and
man.
the fact that it was like this,
I just bought that in boxing.
and the fact that it was like, for some of it, you're like, is this like a heist kidnapping movie? And then it just turns into like this
gory
batshit vampire movie.
Yeah, no, that was good fun.
So good.
That was good fun.
What else was a good little surprise? I'm just trying to look back and see what surprised me. Mainly because it's just had the worst fucking release, Juror number 2.
That's definitely going to be a surprise to me. I literally watched it last night.
Yeah.
Fucking love it.
And I also think
Worst
like
release.
it's weird that it's a
Fucking
surprise
brilliant.
because you're like, because Clint Eastwood has kind of gone up and down lately in
Yeah,
terms
for
of
sure.
what he's done. But you go, oh, Nicholas Hoult, Toni Collette, Kiefer Sutherland, J.K. Simmons, Leslie
of people.
Bibb,
Yeah.
all these incredible people in this film.
The guy from Reno 911.
Yeah.
I saw him and I was like, holy shit.
Chris Messina.
Chris Messina.
Like it's
love
Zoe
Chris
Zoe
Messina.
Deutsch. She's great in it
Yeah.
too. Incredible cast. And if you don't know about this movie, don't be surprised because it's literally just been fucking
It's been
dubbed.
thrown onto digital here
I'm
in
assuming
Australia.
it'll pop up on like Binge
I
or
would
something
assume so,
streaming
yeah.
soon. But
it's
like if
currently
you
on digital here.
if you want to spend $10 and renting it or buying
It's
it
worth
digitally,
it.
it's
It's
fucking
so
worth
fucking
it.
worth
Is-
it. Great
it is-
courtroom drama.
And it's just it's such a good reminder of like this movie in the 90s would have made like $200 million.
It's killing.
Like to me, I'm
Everyone
like, this is like a time, like it's not like a time to kill, but it's like a time to kill in terms
No, I
of
get
like,
that, yeah.
it's that movie where it's just a straight courtroom drama.
Yeah.
But it does everything correct.
Yeah.
You are
Oh.
never not fully engaged
I
with what's
fucking
happening.
said last night after I watched it, I had no idea how it
Yeah.
was going to end.
Yeah.
And then as it was wrapping up, and I was like, this is the only way it could end.
Yeah.
Literally the only way it could
ending,
end.
and I was like, and I can see the ending pissing people off.
Nah, I loved it.
But I love
Loved
it.
Nah, it's not
and
a
then it opens up this
perfect
like
ending.
massive conversation. It's like, where do you think it goes? What do you think actually happens?
Even a conversation just about juries in general.
Yeah.
About just how people just will... The fucking judicial system in general.
And some people
My
are like,
favorite shot of the film.
some people are like, he's guilty no matter what. He's innocent no matter what. There's people in between.
People who are going, his past determines the fact that he should go to jail.
I also did like the fact that it seemed to be people of color were more towards
Putting him in
guilt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many fucking layers to it.
Yeah.
So, no, great pick.
Great movie.
Most disappointing film or films of the year.
This is going off of the fact that everything I read about this movie was hyping the shit out of it.
Yep.
I couldn't read a tweet or go through an Instagram post without seeing this movie. It had a massive marketing,
universally
It had
praised.
a massive marketing campaign. Look, yeah, the fact that it did parody posters, hilarious. After a while, I'm like, I'm getting fucking sick of it. But I went into this admittedly thinking, oh, this will be really funny.
Yeah.
And look, I know that a lot of people, I'm very much in the minority. I get it.
for sure.
But like, this movie didn't need to be feature length. This should have been a short film or a couple of skits. Hundreds of Beavers, I'm sorry, was just not the fucking masterpiece of comedy that everyone seems to think it is. And maybe if I watched it without
The hype.
but I don't really let hype ruin things for me.
No.
But I just was like,
I
this
think
movie,
you're more just baffled.
I was like, this does not deserve to be was that 100 minutes, 90 minutes?
yeah, 100 minutes. I thought it was too long.
It's far
as well.
too long for what it is.
I thought it was way too long.
And yeah, like
I
it was-
appreciated it,
yeah.
for sure, because it's made for a dime.
Like that's the
But-
thing. I was like, yeah, what he's done,
it's
is
incredible,
great.
yeah.
But I was also like,
You just didn't like the
and I'm
movie.
like, I don't understand the universal praise of it.
No, I get that.
Here you go.
What do you know, Pete? You know?
Exactly. What do I know?
What do you fucking know?
Yeah.
Because I had some anticipation for it, Joker Folie à Dieu.
Yeah. Fair.
And the one that probably disappointed me the most based on like I like this director and writer's films and really cool concept, but it just didn't hit me the way it hit other people was Alex Garland's Civil War.
Yeah.
Still a good movie. I was just disappointed.
We were both like
I
gave it like 3.5 stars.
I gave it 3.5, but I
Like-
was kind of like, oh, that's it.
And like
I thought the ending, I thought the last like 30 minutes was pretty fantastic, and then the ending pissed
Yeah.
me off. And I was like,
But
oh,
like,
that seems like a fucking
we
shit
saw
way to end it.
everyone giving this 5 stars.
Oh, it's popped up on many a top list already.
And I'm like, yeah, like I think like Kirsten Dunst is great in it.
Yep.
The Jesse Plemons scene is fucking
It's great.
incredible.
Kaylee Spain is great.
Yeah, but it was I think we were both
I
just
just
like
kinda
it
was
just
sitting there
felt
going,
like
like, is this it?
There needs to be there's more to this
There's
story.
more, and there wasn't.
yeah,
That's the thing. So
yeah,
there's
yeah. No, I
the
agree.
two for
I
me.
agree with that. Yeah.
What was your favorite opening scene or scenes from this year? And again, I say scenes because I couldn't just pick one.
Opening scene.
We've already mentioned The Brutalist.
Yeah.
Brilliant opening shot. One shot take of the two immigrants coming off the boat.
Yeah.
And then the camera flipping upside down, revealing the Statue of Liberty upside down. The score is incredible. Amazing.
Opening scenes.
There's two very impactful ones that I have just frothed over since seeing them.
Yeah. You can go. You can go.
The opening scene / prologue of Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And the opening scene / prologue of Longlegs.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, the fucking...
Way to set fucking tones in your movie.
The cut to his face right before the credits
Terrifying.
is terrifying.
Great jump scare. Brilliant jump scare. So just two movies that's really, well, including The Brewers 3, movies that's really perfectly set the tone of what and hooked me in. I think every opening scene should be like a fucking great hook, and those are the three that have stuck with me.
I did really like the way Strange Darling opened.
Yes. Agreed.
How it's like...
Oh, because you're immediately like, what's going on?
Because it's her running, and you sort of think, okay,
great shot too.
And then
looks brilliant. That
and then
movie.
it tells you that you're going to see a story in like 5 chapters.
I do. That was.
And then
fun,
it's like, here's chapter 3, and you're like, why are we starting?
Why are we starting at number 3?
I love what JT Moller did with he was
structure
so
of that
ambitious
film,
with that, and it fucking pays off so
Big
good. Trying to think if there's any other opening scenes that really got me. No, I think because like Longlegs was like
and we've spoken about that one before quite frequently.
Yeah,
those are the ones.
That's going off like just like I might be one of those things where I look back and go, oh,
yeah, of course.
But,
I mean, this is the case with all these things.
Yeah.
So we watch so much.
There's so much. Yeah.
Favorite closing scenes. Favorite finishing movies, wrapping things up.
Closing scenes.
I put Nosferatu in there again. I think the last few minutes of Nosferatu is fantastic.
I mean, it is. It's pretty. Look, I'm also going to... Defying Gravity is really fucking hard not to think.
No, that was...
like,
yeah. No, I'll admit, that's not on my list, but yeah.
But like, it's pretty hard to not be like, okay, that's...
Yeah.
Set things up.
The tennis match and challenges.
Oh, so good.
That's a fucking 15-minute closing scene, and I was just on the edge the whole time.
And again...
that shot of the tennis ball.
Yeah, but also... Little long legs, like
Satan.
like that closing scene just is like
so good.
Yeah.
I also put Anora in there.
Yeah.
Which, if there is a movie that managed to encapsulate the entire feeling of a movie when at the end you just crash and burn.
Yeah.
And what that feeling would be like. When the agency, not to spoil too much of Anora, but the agency you've held on so strongly for, and the guard you've had up for that manic fucking last 2 and a bit hours of movie, for it all to drop just like that was brutal. I also put that, the question will come up, what's the saddest moments? This is the final scene of Anora.
Yeah. Especially because ending. Like, so before I saw it, they did a brief... I don't think Sean Baker and everyone came out afterwards, but beforehand the person was saying like, I can't wait for you all to see this film, and I'm still thinking about the ending. So for the whole film, I was
wondering
like,
how it's going to fucking
end. The fuck is this ending? And there were 2 moments that I thought they're just going to drop it. So, and I will speak about these moments. So one of them is when, so it's kind of towards the end of the film, and Anora and it's not Yuri, that's the actor's name, Ivan. So they've had this sort of back and forth. They've sort of started to become a bit more like friendly with each other. And she talks about like how she's sort of mad that he won't fuck
back at the house.
That he won't fuck. She's a bit mad that he won't fuck her.
Yeah.
And because
she's always used her body as power, like it's her power, right?
And there's one thing, and she calls him a fucking faggot in one scene.
Yeah, does she say?
And like, it was one of those things where you just go, it's perfectly acceptable language from like from
a Brooklyn native.
Well, it's,
yeah.
But
no, in the scene, it makes sense. Yeah,
and then because she's like, you're like talking about how he doesn't want to have sex with her. I thought she was going to say it's because you're a fucking faggot, and then it was going to just end. And I was like, that would actually be a great ending.
Yeah.
Then another thought was like when she's like, why don't you want to have sex with me? And I thought he was going to say it's because I'm a fucking faggot. And then I thought it was going to end. And I was like, that's great. But then the actual ending of Anora, you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Like regardless,
so
whatever, even if before you go into, because like you'll go into Anora now and being like, oh, I'm really going to be looking out for this ending, regardless of what you think you're looking out for. It's not going to be this.
No,
and it'll fucking emotionally devastate.
It's ton of bricks. It's ton of bricks sort of stuff.
And and then that's when you look back and just go, Mikey, like she's so good.
Yeah, I agree.
She's so good.
She's incredible.
So yeah, like it's pretty hard.
Great closing scene.
Yeah.
Outside of opening and closing scenes, was there a scene that stuck out to you? Was there a favorite scene? Again, I've got fucking 4 of them.
There's
here,
a lot of favorite scenes.
I'll list off mine.
Yeah.
Nicholas Hoult arriving at Count Orlok's mansion in Nosferatu.
I remember when in that screening and Nicholas Hoult, that whole scene finished, Nick and I just turned to each other and we were just like, this is fucking incredible.
That was astounding. That was amazing, that moment. I put the Rock DJ scene from Better Man.
Oh,
can't beat it. That is probably the most electric movie scene of the year.
And that's the thing. Even if you don't like Better Man as a movie, there's no way that you don't appreciate.
And that clip's
Rock
out
DJ.
online, so you can watch that.
Well, not the whole clip, thankfully.
No, true. Very true. Yeah.
But that scene is incredible.
The dance troupe scene in Smile 2.
Yeah.
Where they come down the hallway and the whole group moves as she moves.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of dance related shit. The Halloween party number in Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Really, everyone's paused and stuff. I fucking love that scene. So that's some of my favorite scenes.
They're kind of like a lot of that.
Yeah, I figured we'd have
I am
similar
also
ones
going to
there.
say another thing from Better Man. She's the one.
Yeah, brilliant. Beautiful.
The beautiful scene on the boat. The fucking choreography when he's spinning. It's
I love
so
the Come Undone scene in Better Man as well.
And then the fact that those songs have like a very
different contexts.
Yeah. Because of everything that he went through with like Nicole Appleton as well.
Wild.
Oof. Yeah. I think another great scene is I'm going to say from Smile 2 is the like when you actually see the car accident.
Yeah, the car
and
accident.
And it's the
scene.
fact that it's just
the camera going back
and forth. And
so
that just builds
tense.
up so much tension.
So fucking
you already
tense.
know that they've crashed the car.
So you're
you're wondering for how it's going to happen.
And then you're also keeping up with this argument that they're having and the manicness of 2 people high on drugs. Ray Nicholson's incredible in that scene as well.
Yeah.
The Ray Nicholson scene in Smile 2 is great as well. So
I'd be like, oh, he got that smile from his daddy.
Oh, tell me that's
if you don't know
Jack.
that his son is Jack, his dad is Jack Nicholson, then
Tell
his
me
dad
it's
is
not
Jack
Jack.
Nicholson. And also the big rig chase in Furiosa.
Oh, fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
They took it aerial.
Yeah.
George Miller's a fucking psychopath. They took it aerial.
Man. That's
great.
A great
Such
scene.
a great scene.
I mean, probably going back to endings, because I just thought of this scene. Sydney Sweeney at the end of Immaculate.
Oh, God, yeah. Actually, I can't even believe I forgot that.
Like,
if there's something that's going to leave your jaw dropped to the fucking floor, it'll be the ending of Immaculate.
fuck.
Such a great ending to that film. Great movie, too.
Great movie.
Criminally underrated.
Yeah.
Underrated. Some of the funniest moments of 2024.
Funniest moments.
Now, I've got one here that was probably maybe the most unexpected laugh, but it got a fucking raucous amount of applause.
Yeah.
Guy Pearce asking for the penny back in the Brutalist.
Yeah.
Throws penny at Adrian Brody as a joke.
Yeah.
And then goes, actually, no, can you give that back?
Yeah,
In the context of the film, hilarious.
I will also say, I mean, the whole scene, like the popular number in Wicked is funny.
Yeah.
But like the little bits in leading up to it where she's like, she takes like, Ariana Grande takes the glasses off Cynthia Erivo, and then she's like, and then she goes, never mind.
Yeah.
Like she's got very
Ariana
good-
Grande was very funny.
and I will also say another funny scene, even though it's also like, it's incredibly sad, but it's really like when Monstro Alyssa Sue in The Substance puts the earring on and puts it and then goes and then does the thing. Like, it's really sad.
It's sad
because
but
it's like this
fucking
giant
hilarious.
like monster trying to be I'm beautiful, but it's like finding
where the ear is
and then
it's
putting
not
it on
there.
and then just going the like it's funny, but it's like it's disturbing. But it's just I think it's the little like look how pretty I am.
Yeah.
So that was funny.
I think the dildo case reveal in Drive-Away Dolls was quite funny.
Yeah.
In a movie that didn't all work for me, I did remember laughing a lot at that. And arguably one of the biggest laughs, and it's continued every time I think about it, it's quite funny, is actually from Abigail.
Right.
When Dan Stevens' character asks Catherine Newton's character to go get some garlic.
Yeah.
And she comes back with a bag of onions and she's so happy. She's like, look, I found them.
He's like,
and
Sammy,
those are fucking onions. Just Dan Stevens can do no wrong in my eyes. He's so good.
He's a good one.
Couple more to go. What is some of the saddest moments in film? So we spoke about the final scene of Honora.
Final scene of Honora.
Not necessarily ones that made you cry or upset, but ones that also had a bit of like, oof.
So I'm assuming this is going to be on your list. Demi Moore putting the makeup on and taking it off.
Yeah, I didn't put it in saddest. I definitely was impacted by that.
Yeah.
That's a tough scene to watch.
Yeah.
That is a tough scene to watch.
And so at my birthday, I was speaking to Kirsten about it, and she was saying like how fucking how much she loved that movie, but she was just like that scene. She's like, now as someone who's like, you know, in the like she's got a boyfriend, but obviously they're still in that stage of like, you know, she wants to look nice for him, and she was like that. She's like, as someone who has experienced that, she was like that. Really,
I've heard,
but like just in general, but like I was like, and then I think it's also just like, you're Demi Moore, you look
stunning,
so fucking incredible, and it's just how
that's almost perfectly why it works. So you know,
it's the fucking like how
violently
she takes it off, and you know, looks happy, and then it's just walks outside and sees Margaret Qualley, and it's like, but then you just go, but that's you, that scene was
right.
and like I think just the fact that it was such dead silence watching it, everyone got
that
what
scene,
that was,
that's an impactful scene, this isn't a spoiler because it happened in real life, but Robbie Williams' grandma dying in Bad is fucking, and Angels. Perfect use of that song in that moment.
Yeah.
And this one necessarily wasn't sad, but this one was just, it's sad, but in the way you just like feel really bad for this character. In Memoir of a Snail, the reveal of what the photo book is. Grace, what the photos of Grace in that photo book and how the man has been abusing her basically is heartbreaking. It's such that I just remember I was going through all the movies I watched, and like as I was scrolling through, like, you know, scenes would like pop up like it was like a Rolodex, and then Memoir of a Snail hit, and I was like, oh, I just remember being so sad for Grace in that. And Memoir of a Snail, I think, is probably Adam Elliott's like masterpiece. Like it's incredible.
It's in my top of the year.
It's phenomenal. I remember we had such a good reaction to it when we saw it. So just that seems brutal. That wasn't nice.
And I will just go off of another scene that just really, it's Real Pain.
Oh, the scene,
yeah.
I still think that's one of the. Oh, are we talking about the dinner scene or the where they go to the?
Camp? Like.
Both,
the camp and the dinner scene is like, I think it just, when Jesse Eisenberg just has his monologue about like, I love him and I hate him and I'm envious of him, but I pity him, and it's like,
it's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
That scene's brilliant. But then I think one of the best cuts, like edits in a movie this year, is when they open the door to a part of the concentration camp they go to. And Jesse Eisenberg touches Kieran Culkin's daughter, and he just goes, and it just, it was chills thinking about it. Fucking brilliant.
Great.
Brilliant
movie.
Really great emotional moments in films this year.
Yeah.
Last two. What was the scariest moment of a movie in 2024?
Scariest moment.
Big jump scare, scene that stuck with you. I've got the Prometheus monster jump scare in Alien Romulus. Scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And I was in a cinema by myself watching that, and it scared the shit out of me.
And
then the car lights in the face in Smile 2 scared the shit out of me. So much so that when I watched it for a second time, I winced. And Rhiannon's like, you look like you're getting scared. I was like, I'm not good for scared. But I was.
Yeah, Smile 2, had
Smile 2, you could just say Smile 2.
The Prometheus that was a nice little grab in Romulus.
I've got one more. If
I'm trying to think what else was a good scare. I'm not necessarily like, this was what scariest scenes. That was the question.
Scariest moments, scenes.
in Blink Twice,
Oh my god, yes.
when
Yeah.
then all throughout that movie, you kind of are thinking like,
There's
okay, that's
sinister undertones.
at the party towards the end when you realize like
There is are you talking
What's-
about another great edit of the year,
Yeah.
that hard cut?
yeah.
There's no easy way to say it. There is a hard once Naomi Aki sort of has her memory come back. There is a hard cut. Like there is nothing preparing for you to this
Yeah.
of a scene where rape is taking place. And it's not to discredit the fact that if it was just one person, but
It's
it is
multiple people.
getting
It's
raped
basically
in one go.
all of these girls on the island and one of the guys
Getting
who for a lot of the movie you kind of think he's in on it,
but no.
and no, he's and they're all just and it's
brutal.
It's brutal.
It is hard.
it's hard to watch,
and
but-
it's terrifying. Yeah,
but
it's
then it
truly
also
scary.
makes the
revenge so much
sweeter. That was I remember that.
That's a fucking that's
and
scary.
like I feel like. I mean, I know you and I and Phoebe were all just like, this movie is fucking great. I feel like a lot of people weren't.
Didn't vibe with that one. Yeah,
we were just like, no, this is
I love it.
actually kind of great. So
it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I got one more jump scare,
Mhm.
and this might be the jump scare that got me the best this year, from a little Irish horror film called Oddity.
Right.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
There is a scene that involves a tent
Mm-hmm.
in a living room. Perfect jump scare.
Okay.
Perfect. Just the build up is so terrifying, and it's a long build up, and you are just sitting in the terror of it all. And a lady just opens up the front of a tent, and there's nothing there, and then just a man with a mask just goes whoop into frame, and it was terrifying. Also, there's a fantastic scene involving a camera taking a photo that was terrifying as well. Oddity is creepy as fuck.
Okay.
Movie didn't land as much as I wanted to, but there are some scary moments. But that tent jump scare is just, and I watched that on a fucking screener. Same with
Right.
the long legs opening scene. Watched it on a screener
Yes,
in my
that
living
was-
room.
yeah.
Still jumped.
Yeah.
That's how impactful those things are.
Yeah.
But a great year for scary movies too.
Great year for scary movies.
Let's wrap it up, Pete. We've been here for 2.5 hours.
We have. Longest episode in a while.
And the recaps always are because there's
Yeah.
lots to talk about.
Yeah.
But let's put the cherry on top. What was your favorite film of the year 2024? Peter Gray. Locked in, etched in stone, never to be changed again. What is your favorite movie of 2024? The people want to know. They must know. Did you have one coming into this conversation today?
Well, I had two, and I feel like I've said them.
Oh, people will know what mine is based on how we've spoken about things.
Yeah.
You know what mine is. Peter Gray, you know what mine is.
So, like, initially, look, if you asked me this question in March, challenges.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
That's
That's actually, Challenges has gone down a little bit based on other movies being better,
Yeah.
but
then
that's top 5.
Then throughout the year, it was like challenge, and then I was like, long legs.
Yep.
Long legs is great. then we got to September, and I was like, Anora, The Substance, Baby Girl, The Order. I was just spoiled
Spoiled for choice.
I think
You think?
I think I'm gonna have to go with The Substance.
The Substance is my favorite
Yeah.
movie of 2024.
I think so.
I've seen it 3 times now.
Yeah.
I get so much joy out of watching it. But outside of how I felt about it and how much fun I had and that great cinema experience, it's a biting satire about Hollywood beauty standards.
Yeah.
It effectively uses dark comedy. It
I feel like-
effectively uses body horror.
I feel like it, like, because I feel like the first time you see it, you're almost just like so caught off guard with like
Oh yeah.
everything that's happening. That I think
Especially how wild
I think
the ending is.
rewatchability is really high for
Super
it.
high. No,
Yeah.
and I think the themes of the film hit me so much more
Yeah.
the second time around. The subtlety of Demi Moore's reactions to certain things that are said in the film,
Yeah.
especially lines that come from actually a supporting performance. We should have talked about Dennis Quaid and how fucking great he is.
And we'll also just say his character's name is Harvey.
Yeah, I mean, there
Like-
was almost a chance where we were going to talk to Coralie Farshad, and it just didn't come through.
didn't come through.
And my question was just going to be as like, how intentional?
Yeah.
How intentional is the name Harvey? And
I mean,
think
she's
since come out and said, yeah.
at the TIFF screening, she was like, his name is Harvey. And then there was just this thing of like, oh, oh, and everyone was like, oh, okay.
I get it.
Also, that role
was Schmeinstein.
that role was originally for Ray Liotta.
And he would have been amazing in it. So, it's cool. Dennis is brilliant.
Dennis Quaid's great.
I can imagine, but the reason why Dennis is so great because it feels so against type for him.
Yes.
Whereas Ray Liotta has that unhinged energy, and it would have worked.
Which
so
is
well.
funny because I was very fortunate to speak to Ray Liotta, and he is such a sweet man. So it's funny that his whole career has basically been like
villains,
evil
and bad
characters. So he very much appreciated when I was like, I called out Karina.
Nice.
And the Muppets Most Wanted.
Love
and
that.
Then, and I remember him going, you are such a smart guy, Peter. And I was like, yes, Ray Liotta. Such a sweet man. Rest in peace, Mr. Liotta.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he gets it, but he's thanked in the credits.
Oh, that's even better. I didn't even notice that actually.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to watch Substance now.
Yeah.
It's
great.
It was my favorite as soon as I watched it. And as I looked through all the other movies that I loved and stuff, there's things that have come close, but and the urgency of which I want to show people the Substance, which is not an easy movie to recommend.
No.
If you're squeamish in any way, you're having a bad time, especially if you don't like needles. There is a whole needle montage in this film that even I cringed at, and I don't have a phobia of needles.
It's the pussy.
It's the goo that comes out. That's gross.
Also, just quickly, I know that Bird Eater is a movie that we obviously super love, but we saw that in 2023.
Yes.
So we are going off.
Yeah.
So we are going off movies that were released like
this. Yeah. For the movies that we saw this year.
Because obviously Bird Eater we would be like hyping up for sure.
Yeah.
But that's also why like we've spoken about like I've spoken about Baby Girl because I've seen it this year.
And it doesn't come out till next year. But, great point. And Bird Eater, fantastic film.
So there are some films that are like 2024 release that were actually seen in 2023.
Yes.
So that's why, because otherwise we would be like After Sun and
we make our own rules.
Yeah.
We do whatever the fuck we
yeah.
want.
So,
and we've spoken about those other movies at length as well. I remember we spoke about After Sun on the last recap episode as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
And like All of Us Strangers, I'd probably be like, oh my God, but that was last year.
That was last year as well. Fuck. What an episode.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't have been this long or possible without everyone supporting us and listening.
Giving us all of those questions.
Listening on whatever your preferred podcasting platform is, or watching us on YouTube or watching the reels and stuff. We're very appreciative and thankful for you. I'm very appreciative and thankful for you, Pete.
Oh, thanks, Nick.
For not just being a great host.
Oh, here we go.
Or co-host. Being a good friend too.
Oh.
No, we've had a lot of fun doing this in the most sincere way. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like we wouldn't continually be doing it if we didn't enjoy the movies, if we didn't enjoy each other's company.
And didn't enjoy talking about it with you guys. People who message us.
Yeah.
When episodes
it's really
drop.
Nice.
People who message us asking us when episodes are going to drop.
Yeah.
That gets me excited.
Seeing Canada listening to episode, you're just like, that's great. Thank you to everyone.
It's been
to continually supporting just two little guys from Brisbane.
Just two guys who are just trying to make their way in a big old film review industry, you know?
There's always room for movie pod.
There's always room for movie pod. Did you watch the documentary they released? Arnie Donna made like a fake documentary about it's fucking brilliant. I think Arnie Donna are comedic geniuses. But that's 2024 wrapped up, and it's actually still 2024 as we're recording this because it's coming out New Year's Eve. This episode.
It'll be coming out
tomorrow.
So happy almost 2025. What the fuck?
Yeah, crazy to think, but the show doesn't stop.
And we literally hit the ground running. We've got a screening on
January the 2nd.
we already have
January the 6th.
We already have interviews lined up.
Yeah, I've been given an in-season. I'm sure you have too for Den of Thieves too.
Pantera.
Cannot fucking wait to see that.
So excited seeing that opening day.
Very excited.
Sure.
But the show does not stop here. 2025. Obviously, as we said earlier in one of the answers, we're excited to continue the show on the incredible trajectory it's on. Have a lot of fun with it. Have a lot of fun with you guys with it. It's gonna be a fun year.
Yeah.
It's not that 1 year ends, another year starts. Just train keeps on rolling.
It just keeps going.
And that's exciting. But January episode, we should probably plug as well. The Wolfman, or just Wolfman now, actually. So
It's just Wolfman, yeah.
Lee Whannell's Wolfman.
Lee
We're
Whannell.
watching Saw. We're
Saw.
watching Upgrade. We're watching The Invisible Man.
Invisible Man.
Talking all things Lee Whannell in lead up for that. That's coming out mid-January.
Mijan.
Where will people, if people want to know what your New Year's will look like, Pete, where should they find you?
They should find me on X and Instagram at RatedPDG. Rotten Tomatoes, Peter Gray, Gray, I am there. And then all of my things are on theaureview.com.
Hell yeah.
Where, yes, interviews, reviews, musings, lists will be there. So check it out because 2024 was a
big list
banger
coming
year.
up, right?
2025, let's hope it keeps going.
Amen.
And we'll have Sundance reviews going out in January. So look out for that. And if you don't want to read things from me, but you want to read things from him, or you want to read things from him in addition,
yes.
where can they find you?
Do it collectively. It's more
Yeah.
fun that way. X, Instagram, Letterboxd at nicksflicksfix, novastream.com.au for reviews and interviews. I've got there should be an interview going out today with Stephen Curry for the Actor Festival.
Stephen Curry.
That was good fun.
Yes.
Interviews already locked away for 2025. Reviews already locked away for 2025.
Yeah.
Super exciting. January will be funny because it'll be kind of actually quiet for us.
January will be quiet for we'll have lots
we've
of
already
things.
done so much
we'll
shit.
we'll have lots of things being released,
But
like
we've
we've
already
already done them,
which is nice.
So it'll be kind of nice to maybe have kind of a little bit of a break.
We'll see.
That being said, that never happens because I'm Sundance will take up time.
Yeah, Sundance will be there.
I'm going
Back to work.
Going to Sydney for an interview.
Hey, oh, that's right. Yes.
So
we'll see.
stops, yeah.
And of course, 0 to 100 on Spotify.
Yeah. So next episode, 49%.
We're about to crack the 50s.
Yeah, talking about.
Yeah.
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robocop.
Robocop.
Yeah. We just haven't recorded it yet.
We haven't
but we will
recorded
be
it yet.
recording
Yeah.
it soon. It will be coming out on
It
Friday.
will be coming out.
But yeah, so much stuff going on, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
But for one last time in 2024, thank you again. And as always, we will lead up to the fact that we're going to say
A word
catchphrase
that begins with
B and ends with I, and it is bye.